bien négocié. Le stop à gauche, on va voir le deuxième temps intermédiaire. Je vous rappelle, si ça s'affiche vert, il est en avant.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Vaires-sur-Marne here in France for the ECA Canoe Slalom European Championships. Today we're moving away from the team event. We're into the individuals now. Starting off with kayak women, as you see there, the start list that we can expect to be seeing. With the event starting in just 1 minute's time with Ksenia Krylova. And at the end of the class, we can look forward to Ricarda Funk, the multiple Olympic medalist. In there, we expect to see the Olympic bronze medalist Kimberly Woods competing, along with the silver medalist Claudia Zwolinska, and many other exciting athletes. After the kayak women, we'll have the kayak men's event, followed by the canoe women, and then the canoe men to finish us off around midday Central European time. So here on course, we have Ksenia Krylova competing under the banner of an independent nation. Looking like she's having a very solid start to her run. Bit of a trickier course today than we saw yesterday in the team event. Easier for the athletes to get down now. They're not thinking about where their two teammates are, so the course designers have decided to increase the difficulty of the moves here at Vaires-sur-Marne. These athletes going off now at 1 minute intervals, so while someone's down at the bottom of the course around gate 14-15, you'll see the next competitor start. And that next competitor is Elisa Tair from Latvia, unfortunately having a very difficult start to her run up here. But if we take our eyes back to the bottom of the course, Ksenia Krylova pushing towards the finish line now on a clean run, and I haven't seen any major mistakes. So this could be a solid benchmarker for those other athletes to chase, bearing in mind these athletes competing under the banner of an independent nation haven't been at these races for a while, so their rankings could be a little bit off. So we could expect to see some very fast athletes early on here. Now pushing through the top half of the course, Emanuela Luknarova competing for Slovakia. We saw her in the team event yesterday with Sonia Stanovska and Zuzana Pankova. Not quite finding the success they were looking for, but it looks like that team race might have given her some experience, as she's having a pretty good run so far, staying clean. As we see at the bottom of the course, unfortunately, Elisa Tair just struggling a little bit on this tricky course that has been designed here at Vaires-sur-Marne. And we have another athlete under the banner of an independent nation, this time Marina Novish. As we see there, Emanuela Luknarova now of Slovakia. Unfortunately for Elisa Tair, overtaking her in the last upstream gate. So Emanuela Luknarova managed to go an entire minute faster than the Latvian athlete. maybe not something we expected to see today, but well done to the Latvian athletes for keeping on going. And we may be seeing Emanuela Luknerova again, as athletes are typically given a rerun, so they're giving another go at the course if an athlete is in their way, like they were for Emanuela Luknerova there. Anyway, we have our second athlete of the independent nations, Marina Novic. Unfortunately, I don't see any video of it. Oh, there she is, she's back. Picking up a touch, and she's 4.43 seconds down on her teammate Ksenia Krylova. Remember, the top 30 qualify. Only 40 boats on the start line, so only 10 athletes are getting eliminated at this stage. I don't think it'll take much to go through. So I'm sure Marina Novic will be waiting with her fingers crossed, but 4.63 seconds behind. I think she'd have to be pretty lucky today. On course towards the bottom, we have our third athlete under the banner of an independent nation. It's Alsu Minetsova, a well-known athlete from when some of these guys were allowed to compete as Russia. She's well established as a senior, and you see that with her time, 1.42 seconds up on the third split. Just opting to spin, and she's touching the last gate 23. Looks like she's struggling on energy here. As she pulls towards the finish line, she'll be very disappointed with that finish, as she loses her advantage and goes 0.78 into second place. As this crowd here really picks up for Zuzana Pankova, who's almost 2.5 seconds up on the second split. And looks to be putting a very strong run together. Remember, Zuzana Pankova competed in the C1 event at the Paris 2024 Olympics, so she's used to this course. She's a very talented athlete, still young, turning 21 this year, I believe. She's showing some of that energy here at the bottom of the course as she widens her advantage, and I think this is going to go comfortably into the lead ahead of the athletes from the independent nations. And it's 8 seconds ahead. I thought Ksenia Krylova did an okay run, but Zuzana Pankova has blown that out of the water. Now we see, I believe, our only Lithuanian athlete in the kayak women's event today, Veronika Turbanova, making her way down the course. Only the one touch so far. She is a little bit down on the split. Remember, Zuzana Pankova, very, very talented athlete to go off this early in the event. So I think Veronika Turbanova will be happy with how she's doing here, managing to get all these gates in this tricky course, and just running into a little bit of trouble here, held up in that feature. Thankfully it doesn't hold her for long as she moves into that 17-18 stopper cross move. We see our only athlete from Kosovo, I believe, at this event, Blandine Zamalji. Unfortunately, I can't say her last name. Looking like she's having a solid run for her here. I was about to say staying clean, but unfortunately she picks up a touch there. Just getting held up in some of these features. Important to have the boat always on top of the water keep the boat out of the features. They can slow you down. You want to stay in the flow, keep the boat moving. And we just see Blandine from Kosovo just struggling a bit with that here. We also have our only athlete from Norway on the course here today, Vaires-sur-Marne. Quite far down on Susanna Pankova at the split. I don't think these runs will qualify, but giving it a good go nonetheless. As at the top of the course, we have our first athlete from Germany, Paulina Pirro. I believe a junior world champion recently. Just struggling a little bit at the top section of this course here with 2 touches, causing her to be 8 seconds down. Remember, second place is 8.62 seconds behind Zuzana Pankova, and as I mentioned, only 10 athletes get eliminated, so we could see a quite a wide gap for qualifying today. So don't put this performance of Paulina Pirro completely out of running at this time. As we see here, Vaires-sur-Marne pulling towards the finish line, unfortunately not in a time that will get anywhere near the top. We have our young Polish athlete here, Hanna Danek, I believe moving into her either last year or junior or first year of under 23, around 18 years old. Very dynamic athlete. Taking the win at the Junior European Championships in Krakow last year on her home course. So we see Paulina Pirro start to cross the finish line. Unfortunately lost a lot of time. She looks very unhappy there. 17 seconds down. That probably won't do it, unfortunately for her. And Hanna Danek now, just the 1 touch. Getting a bit held in that stopper. On that move there that you see, gate 14 to 15, it's going to be important to get to the wall as quick as you can there. I think our top athletes today are going to fly through that section. Their boat will be on top of the water, and they'll have some good pre-turn before they get into that upstream gate. That's what these girls are fighting with. That's what's going to come down today. So we see now one of 2 athletes from Andorra, Laura Pellicer. Having a clean start to her run. Let's see how she competes on this second split, as she was 1.81 down on the first. And Hanna Danek crosses the line 11.6 seconds behind. It could struggle to qualify. We'll see, the gap could be pretty large today with only 10 athletes getting eliminated. But we have had 11 athletes down the course, which means Zuzana Pankova qualified for our semi-final tomorrow. One of 30 boats that will be competing. And next to qualify is Ksenia Kielova for the independent nations, 8.62 seconds behind. So these athletes coming down now, including Laura Pellicer, have a big gap to slide themselves into in order to qualify for tomorrow's semi-final. And barring any big mistakes here at the bottom of the course, looks like Laura Pellicer can put in a competitive time for that second place. Unfortunately, just a bit slow between gates 23 and 24 there, that last offset. And she goes 9.36 behind, which puts her in 3rd position. So she is next to qualify, as we see Ksenia Kielova gain her qualification, 8.62 seconds down for the semi-final. The gap is large. And these athletes coming down now, I don't think have to do anything special. Just a solid run. Keep it clean, that's very important. As we saw yesterday in the team runs, the touches add up. As Svenja Matti of Switzerland puts down her challenge, 5.36 down on the second split. Well within that safety margin that we're seeing there to qualify for the semi-final. Needs to stay clean here, stay solid. And we have at the top of the course, Lucia Pistoni, 2022 Junior World Champion from Ivrea, Italy, putting down her challenge now, picking up a touch just before that first split. So she'll be about 4.5 seconds down now Still got about 5 seconds to play with between now and the bottom of the course, as she looks like she's flying through the back straight section. And Svenja Matti goes into 5th position, 2 spots away from qualifying, so she'll have to wait with her fingers crossed. I think she just lost a little bit of pace in that bottom section there. She didn't look too happy with herself, as it looks like Lucia Pistoni picks up another touch on gate 15. I don't think she can afford many more now. Excellent use of the boat away from gate 18, picking up speed. Very technical paddler, Lucia. But one more touch, she's going to really struggle now with these touches adding up. She's already around 8 seconds down on the leading time. As we see Nikita Sechel at the top section, 0.96 behind, picking up 1 touch. She starts to fly down this back straight section. We see the second split, only 2.87 behind Zuzana Pankova of Slovakia. Her raw time is on pace with the fast time of Zuzana Pankova here, so this looks like a comfortable qualification run for Nikita Sechel as she looks to hold it together on the bottom section. And our Italian athlete there, Lucia Pistoni, dropping into 7th position, unfortunately 14 seconds down. 5 seconds away from that qualification buffer. And Nikita Sechel now. The gap widens to 4 seconds on this last split, but remember, 10.87 second gap to qualify. Barring any big mistakes from Nikita, this should be a good qualification run for her, and we will see her in tomorrow's semi-final. Yes, well done to Nikita Sechel as she goes into 2nd position, comfortably qualifying into that semi-final. Very mature performance there from the 2018 Junior European Champion. And here is Lea Novak of Slovenia. Unfortunately, with 2 penalties now, she's 10 seconds down, so she's really pushing her luck with that barrier. She has to stay in touch with her Slovakian counterpart, Zuzana Pankova, in the bottom section here in order to qualify. This could be a tall order. Now we see Lucy Neznidalova. I believe one of her first times on the senior team for the Czech Republic, but we know the depth that's in that country. It's massive. So she's certainly got the ability to perform here. I believe she picked up a win at one of the under-23 championship events, whether that be European or World Championships, so she's an established international competitor. Expecting maybe a challenge to Zuzana Pankova's lead here. As we see Lea Novak now just struggling even more at the bottom. Not a run that she'll be too happy with. Pretty disappointed reaction there. She's 21 seconds down. Definitely not what she planned. Next to qualify, we have Hanna Danek of Poland. As Lucy Neznidalova starts to put in that challenge, she's 1.85 seconds up on that fast run of Zuzana Pankova. She stays clean on the last few gates. I think we'll see a challenge for the race lead here. And an exceptional performance from Lucy Neznidalova. She goes almost 2.5 seconds into the lead, and that run from Zuzana Pankova was no slouch. Still, next to qualify, Hanna Danek of Poland, 16 seconds down. As we have Dominika Brezka putting down her challenge, picking up a touch. She's 8 seconds down, so she's got around another 8 seconds to play with on this bottom section in order to qualify. She stays on plan and stays clean. She's definitely capable of it. I believe a silver medalist at the Junior World Championships in Ivrea 2022. No lack of experience at these big international events for her as the gap widens to 11 seconds. 5 seconds to mess with in the bottom. She has to stay on plan. As we see at the top now, Emily Apple with 1 touch, but on raw time she's absolutely on pace with Lucy Neznidalova. This looks to be a flyer of a run so far from Emily Apple. No lack of experience in her family when it comes to canoe slalom excellence. Her sister, Elena Lilik, now picking up a silver medal in the C1 women's event at the 2024 Paris Games. So I'm sure she will have asked her sister how to do a top performance on this course, and I think we're seeing that here. Only two touches, but her raw time is well in touches. I think she's 2 seconds faster on raw time than our leader, Lucy Nesnidalova. Those touches just pushing her time down. And just there we saw, unfortunately, Dominika Brejka picking up a 50-second time penalty, I think for missing a gate. Unfortunately missing the last upstream with a half head, gate 22. So Hannah Danek has qualified, and next waiting to qualify is Lucia Pistoni of Italy. 16.7 seconds down. On course, Emily Apple approaching the finish line. She is 8 seconds down, but comfortably qualifies with 4 seconds of penalties. I think she'll be happy to comfortably qualify there. As we see now, Chiara Sabatini in the pink, white and black boat from Italy. 2.74 seconds down, but she's remained clean, which gives her an incredibly good chance of qualifying here. Sabatini been on the international scene at a senior level for many years now. She's no stranger to a European Championships. As we see here, just doing what she has to do. You don't have to win this race. No medal for winning qualifications. All you have to do is get through to tomorrow's semi-final. And Sabatini there, as I mentioned, showing her experience, 6.66 seconds behind, but she won't be worried about that as she comfortably qualifies for tomorrow's semi-final. Lucia Pistoni of Italy still waiting, as we see Leira Goni of Spain attacking this course, 3.67 seconds down, and then she picks up a touch. So we can expect her to be around 5 seconds down on this next split as the crowd goes wild at the top for Eva Pietraka, the French athlete, in front of the home crowd, hoping to really give the crowd something to cheer about. And it sounds like she is. Top atmosphere here from the crowd as we see Leira Goni looking like she might qualify quite comfortably here. Remember, there's a 16-second gap, and Leira Goni goes comfortably inside that, qualifies in 6th position, as now the crowd is really getting hyped up for Eva Pietraka, who's putting down a solid run here, only 2 seconds down on Lucy Nesnidalova, so she's currently in provisional 2nd place, as the young French athlete is flying in front of our home crowd. And at the top we have Lois Lever of Great Britain, the under-23 world champion, looking to show her class on this course. Comfortably delivers gate 1 and 2. Made it look easy. As Eva Pietraka, 2.64 seconds down on the second split. Provisional 3rd position here as she picks up a touch. Another touch here for Eva Pietraka, but barring a massive mistake, she should comfortably qualify, as 16 seconds is a massive gap for an athlete of her caliber. As we see Lois Lever now flying on the top section. And there you go, as I mentioned, Pietraka 7.73 seconds down in the end, but comfortably qualifying for that semi-final, as Lois Lever is turning up the heat here and 0.3 seconds ahead of Lucy Nesnidalova, the under-23 world champion, giving you all a show here. Showing these athletes that have gone down so far how to do this course. Unfortunately not how to do that curl move as she falls off the back of it. A minor time error for the fast time so far of Lois Lever. She'll still be comfortably within qualification spots now, 4.11 seconds down, so she's got 12 seconds to play with on this bottom section. Barring a massive mistake, Lois Lever will qualify. As we see now, Sonia Stanovska of Slovakia putting down her challenge. And she's up on the first split as Lois Lever approaches gate 23, comfortably inside it, and 24. We will see Lois Lever in tomorrow's semi-final. An excellent performance, only 4.47 seconds down. with a pretty massive mistake on the curl move from 17 to 18. So the rest of Lois Lever's run was comfortably faster than Lucy Nesnidalova. Definitely a performance to be proud of ahead of tomorrow's semi-final, as we see Sonia Stanovska now only 0.94 down on this Lucy Nesnidalova. So also a very competitive run here. Comfortably with inside qualification time now, Sonia Stanovska. These are some top athletes coming down now. We see bib 17 and 16 on course. Therefore, these are the top 15 athletes in Europe. So I would say it'd take a really big and obvious mistake in order for one of these athletes not to qualify. And that's the kind of mistake that Lucia Pistoni will be hoping for in order to secure her qualification into the semi-final, as she's still waiting 16.7 seconds down. Sonia Stanovska there, just cruising into third position, 2.64 seconds down. A very good performance to take into tomorrow. As we see Ida Novak now, of Slovenia. We saw her relative, Lea Novak, unfortunately not putting down the run she wanted earlier. Hopefully her teammate and relative, Ida Novak, flies the banner for them here on this run. 8.54 seconds down, way within qualification time. And now we have our only Dutch kayak woman competing at this event, Lena Tunissen. Beginning to approach the second split, and Ida Novak 8.66 behind into ninth position and into the qualification spots. And now here is Lena Tunissen, 4.2 seconds down. She's a very experienced paddler, Lena. She knows that she doesn't need to take any risks to qualify. She is fast enough. She'll just be taking the pace off it, making sure she's safe. But unfortunately loses a bit of safety there on the back of the stopper, maybe trying to be too careful. And she's going to really struggle now to be in touch with this split. And it looks like it could be Lena Tunissen versus Lucia Pistoni for a place in the semi-final here. So we see Elena Marks now putting down a pretty comfortable top split. Unfortunately for her, a bit down on time, but nothing to worry about so far, as Lena Tunissen looked like she really turned up those last few gates after that big mistake, turning up the speed. But unfortunately touches the last gate, and she might struggle to qualify here. She goes into 16th place, 16.48 down, and just pips ahead of Lucia Pistoni, unfortunately for the Italian athlete. Goes ahead by 0.22 seconds. So Lucia Pistoni having to wait again until presumably another big mistake or maybe a 50-second time penalty comes down in order to qualify. As Elena Marks now approaching the third split. She's been around 5 seconds down since the start, but it's nothing she'll worry about. As I said, now 7 seconds down, but that's way within qualification time. Barring a big mistake, you'll see Elena Marks in tomorrow's semi-final. And now we have Laia Sorribes of Spain, our second athlete from Spain. She's up on the first split, flying through this top section, but she takes a pretty big risk on that upstream gate 9, and she has to go back round for it, as she knew she only put half her head inside it. Not an ideal start for Laia, but it won't cost her too much time. Now Elena Marks, way within qualification in 8th position. And there is Laia Sorribes now, just cruising her way through the bottom section of this course. Only 3.87 seconds down, and she had to go back for a gate, so this should be fairly comfortable for her here. She falls off the back of the stopper, as we saw from Lena Tunissen and Lois Lever. It's not easy to stay on there, and it will cost you some time, but not too much time to push Laia Sorribes out of qualifying, it seems. As Eva Alina Hocheva of Slovenia begins to put down her challenge to qualify. A late touch there from Laia Sorribes, She's going to have to deliver these last 2 gates well to stay within qualification times, but she looks like she's got a few seconds to play with in the end. And she's 3 seconds within qualification, goes into 15th place. Just ahead of Svenja Matti from Switzerland. And we'll see her in tomorrow's semi-final. Now, at the start of the course, we see Victoria Urs, an extremely experienced paddler coming from Ukraine, multiple senior medalist. Truly one of the best athletes on the start line here. I expect her to put down a very solid run, maybe quite a safe run, as she knows she doesn't need her best performance in order to qualify today. Now Eva Alina Hocheva approaching the last 2 gates. She's well within qualification time. She touches the last gate, 24, but she'll be way within qualification. She's 7 seconds behind, goes into 8th place, and we'll see her tomorrow as well. Victoria Urs now, 1.54 behind. As I mentioned, quite a safe approach. She doesn't need to perform at her highest level in order to qualify here. No need to take any risks. That's the approach you'll see from these top athletes. They're smart enough to know that they don't need to take risks, they don't need to push the lines, they just need to qualify. Victoria is well within inside the qualification on this 3rd split. Antony Galaskova now at the top, athlete from Czechia. She competed here at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Her family, a very well-known family in canoeing. Her dad runs the company Gala Sport, as you may have guessed from the name. Huge boat manufacturer. So no lack of canoeing knowledge and experience within that family. Clearly passing on to Antony here as she stays way within inside the run of her teammate Lucy Nesnidalova. And Victoria Urs there, just going into tied 9th position with Elena Marks. So we'll see her also tomorrow in the semi-final. Antony Galaskova there, with all that knowledge and experience behind her, putting such a good rundown. 4 qualifications, way within inside the time as she cruises to the finish line with no doubt and no worry. Goes into 5th position, just behind Lois Lever of Great Britain. And the last competitor from the Czech Republic, Gabriela Satkova. 2024 Paris Olympian in the canoe event. She knows this course very well, as you're seeing with the split being way within her teammate's time. Lucy Nesnidalova comfortably in touch with it. She also falls off that wave from 17 to 18. If that move is still in the course tomorrow for the finals, it will be one to look out for a place where time will be changing hands between the medalists tomorrow. Now we have Monica Doria of Andorra. Incredibly experienced paddler. She's still young, but she's been to so many races for Andorra now. 0.5 up on the first split. Certainly is someone that knows how to qualify at these big championship events. She's still ahead, 0.46 up. As we saw there at the end, Gabriela Satkova going into 6th place and comfortably qualifying for tomorrow's semi-final. And it's still Lucia Pistoni waiting here for qualification, 16.7 seconds down, so she'll be looking for a pretty obvious error from one of these girls. And it might take a 50-second time penalty from someone in order to give Lucia her qualification today. As Monica Doria now comfortably getting towards the finish line. Losing a little bit of her advantage now, 1.16 behind on that last split, but nothing to worry about. She'll be one of the last athletes off tomorrow. She flies into 2nd place. And we'll see her fight for the final tomorrow. And this French crowd is really getting up for the home girl, Emma Vrouton. I believe from the south of France, but no stranger to this course in her home country, up in Paris. Hailing from a kayaking family in France, her brother and sister both competing for France on an international level. As she flies towards this bottom section, and the crowd really encouraging her along. Now we see at the top of the course the Paris 2024 bronze medalist Kimberly Woods flying through gate 7. And she's up on the split just by the blink of an eye, less than that even, as she comfortably delivers gate 9. And the home paddler, Emma Vrouton, way within qualification. This home crowd will be excited to see her tomorrow in the semi-final. Kimberly Woods now losing about 0.3 of that advantage she had. But Kimberly Woods does not need anything special here. We know how fast she is. We know that she can qualify easily. So she just needs to stay on the right lines, do the right things, and she'll be way within this time. Now we have the French Olympian, Camille Prigent. I think you'll hear the crowd starting to get hyped up when she comes into eye shot for them as she approaches the first split. And Kimberly Woods very dynamic there on the last gate, 23 into 24. Just behind Lucy Nesnidilova, but I believe she'll go into top 5, and it's 4th place for Kimberly Woods. A run to be happy with, and a good marker to put down ahead of tomorrow's semi-final, as we have 5 athletes to go, including Camille Prigent, the French Olympian, egging up this French crowd here. She struggles a little bit to get inside that upright gate. 15, approaches 16, 17. That's a time deficit that Camille can certainly absorb, as she delivers that curl move excellently. Now, at the top of the course, we have Mylène Chareau, the incredibly experienced Spaniard, multiple Olympic medalist, one of the best kayak women of all time. And Camille Prigent, way within qualification. We'll see her tomorrow as well. And Mylène Chareau, as I mentioned, one of the most successful kayak women we've ever seen. You're getting to enjoy another year of watching her at canoe slalom events, as she looks to be way within this qualification time. Now, if you cast your eyes up to the top of the course, you have Stephanie Horn, experienced Italian paddler. She's been top of the kayak woman roster in Italy for a good few years now. I believe has been their Olympian at the last 2 Olympic events. Certainly knows what she's doing when it comes to qualification on this course. And now Mylène Chareau approaching the finish line, way with inside. The time 7 seconds down, qualifying for tomorrow's event. All she needed to do. And Stephanie Horn now up on the first split. It's her compatriot Lucia Pistoni that is waiting for qualification. So we will see another Italian in the semi-final. And unfortunately for Lucia Pistoni, it looks like it will be Stephanie Horn as she comfortably delivers this bottom section. She was even up on Nesnidilova's time. She's a little bit down now, but we're seeing one of the great runs from Stephanie Horn, and she touches quite dramatically gate 20, but nothing to worry about. She's still got loads of time to play with. At the top of the course, though, you see Claudia Zwolinska now, the Olympic silver medalist on this course at Paris 2024 Olympic Games. This will be an enjoyable run to watch, as we see there Stephanie Horn dropping into 7th place. A solid run,
and comfortably into tomorrow's race. Claudia Jolinska matched the time of Lucy Nesnedalova on that top split. Now she's only 0.13 behind. I think you can see with her fancy coloured bib as well, she is the reigning European champion from Tatsen 2024. She had an incredibly successful year last year. I expect her to carry on in the same suit this year. And as you're seeing with this performance, getting comfortably through this qualification run. Now our last paddler on course, Ricarda Funk. I believe Olympic champion previously, competed at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Unfortunately didn't go her way, but she'll be looking for a bit of a comeback story at these European Championships. As she's flying through these splits, and she's way within Lucy Nesnedalova's time, showing her class here. It's Ricarda Funk versus Lucia Pistoni for qualification. And Ricarda Funk looks to be well within inside everybody's time. Unfortunately, she picks a touch on gate 17. But she doesn't struggle too much on the curl move. And she's still within Lucy Nesnedalova's time there, including a 2-second time penalty. So she's flying on raw time here. And it doesn't even look like she's got out of first gear. A very mature, very composed performance here from Ricarda Funk. She touches gate 23, nothing to worry about. Way within qualification, goes into 4th place, and we will be seeing Ricarda Funk tomorrow in the semi-final. And that's a wrap to the qualification run of the women's kayak. No big upsets there, no big shocks. I believe from about bib 16 or 17 onwards, every single woman managed to qualify. Something you expect to see from the more experienced paddlers here. And unfortunately for Lucia Pistoni finishing 31st, we said we were waiting for her to qualify. The results never fell her way. So the first paddlers eliminated here. Pistoni of Italy, Novish of the independent nations, Pirro of Germany, and Luknarova of Slovakia. Unfortunately, their race comes to an end. But I know a few of those athletes will get a second chance at the canoe event later today. So expect to see some of those names popping up in your feed again.
Allez, prenez vos petits portables, allez scanner le QR code sur les papiers qu'on nous a donnés à l'entrée. Et comme ça, vous allez pouvoir participer au quiz. Le quiz scolaire de ces championnats d'Europe.
There you see the results. Lucy Nesnedalova winning this qualification event, so she'll go off last in the semi-final. She gets to know where everyone finishes, what she has to do in order to qualify for the final. We have a tie there, as you see, between Victoria Urs and Elena Marks. Doesn't happen very often. Pretty hard to finish within same hundredth as somebody else. And last to qualify there, Lena Chirison, who capsized between gate 17 and 18, but managed to hold on within that 16.5-second gap and just about qualify. She'll be the first athlete we see in tomorrow's semi-final. And they unfortunately are our athletes who have been eliminated. Those are the 10 athletes who just missed out on qualification here at the European Championships in Vaires-sur-Marne.
Alors, n'oublie pas les jeunes dans l'escalier, le QR code sur votre portable, sur les papiers que tu vas donner, on va lancer les questions sur l'écran géant dans quelques instants. Alors, première question, où ont eu lieu les JO de Paris 2024 en kayak slalom? Mais quoi qu'il arrive, c'est pour nous sur les téléphones. Allez, il vous reste 5 secondes pour répondre avant de passer à la deuxième question. On passe à la question 2. Allez, c'était Vaires-sur-Marne, bien évidemment, le sud du Sud-Est. Question 2 maintenant. En kayak slalom, quelle est la pénalité de temps quand une porte est touchée par un tout petit heure, 1, 2 ou 5 secondes? Allez, la réponse c'était 2 secondes. Comment s'appelle l'équipement pour la question 3 du kayakiste qui permet à l'eau de ne pas rentrer? A. La grippe. 2. Le micro-kayak. 3. L'autoculette. Oh, j'ai l'impression qu'on répond sur les téléphones là. Ça chante, ça répond sur les téléphones, c'est du bonheur. Allez, la réponse c'était la jupe. La prochaine question, comment doivent être franchies les portes rouges? Elles doivent être descendues par la gauche, remontées par la droite ou remontées au centre des deux pieds. Alors on a trouvé la carte bancaire de M. François Roche. On a trouvé la carte bancaire de François Roche. Je ne sais pas où elle est. En tous les cas, elle n'est pas dans ma poche. Allez, au team leader là-bas, la carte bancaire de François Roche. La réponse doit être acceptée sans point d'appliquer. Prochaine question, question 5. Donnez le nom d'une kayakiste féminine, membre de l'équipe de France 2025. Missy Criou, Emma Vuitton ou contenders? On a bien dit 2025 hein, pour les Coupes de France. Elle est passée devant nous tout à l'heure. Allez, on gêne un peu. Allez, c'était Emma Vuitton. Question 6 maintenant. En quelle matière exerce le kayak des compétiteurs? En fibre de carbone, en bois ou en polyéthylène? Allez, ça reste. Nous voilà studio sur les portables. C'est cool. Ça marche. C'était en fibre de carbone. Et la dernière question maintenant. Trouvez le nom d'un séiste membre de l'équipe de France 2025. Alors pour vous aider, un séiste, c'est quelqu'un qui pratique le canoë. Vous avez Nico Destin, Mathieu Madoré ou Benjamin Régnal que vous avez proposé comme réponse.
Okay, hello and welcome back to the next event here at the ECA European Championships in Vaires-sur-Marne. Starting off with our Latvian athlete, Toms Karlavans, putting down his challenge to qualify. We have quite a few more athletes in this event. We had 40 in the women's kayak. We have 61 in the men's kayak. So, if you're a bit of a maths genius, you'll be able to work out that 31 boats will be eliminated in this event compared to the 10 of the women's kayak. So I expect the margin to qualify to be quite a bit tighter than 16 seconds. Maybe somewhere around the 10-second mark, maybe a little bit less than that. If it's a tight field. The course is tricky, but it's not too hard. Therefore, I do feel like the kayak men could be quite close together. That being said, though, we can expect the presence of Olympic silver medalist Titouan Castries on his home course here, who, as we saw at the Olympics, can tear up the qualification event. So I wouldn't be surprised if the gap between first and second, or the gap between first and fifth, could be a good few seconds as well. Unfortunately, here we see the young athlete from Luxembourg, Gail Drakes Alois Etwiller, unfortunately capsizing there. He's come off our screens now. I'm not too sure what's happened to him. Unfortunately, picking up 50-second penalties on those gates that he missed due to his capsize. And, oh, I see him over there. He's up and running again, passing through gate 19, so he's all right. And now, our first Greek athlete, Christos Afratis Georgiou, throwing down his challenge to be in tomorrow's semi-final. I suspect for these athletes at the start here, we'll be expecting to see a little bit more of a gung-ho approach, I would say, as these athletes just aren't as fast as the ones coming down later, generally speaking. Therefore, it'll take closer to their best performance in order to reach that qualification time, but the athletes that you see later on might be looking a bit more composed and a bit more steady, as they know that they're going to qualify comfortably. And here is our first athlete competing under the banner of an independent nation. It's Ivan Kozlov, a fairly young athlete, I believe. I think I remember seeing him at a junior race in 2021. So he can't be much older than 21, 22 years old, as he's throwing down what looks like our first real competitive time of the day. in the men's kayak class. And there you go, 8.6 seconds up. But he catches his blade and he capsizes and he touches the next gate. So that is a pre-touch on gate 16, meaning he misses gate 15. As he navigated gate 16 before he got to gate 15, he picks up a 50-second time penalty. And Ivan Kozlov is out of the European Championships this year. As we see his teammate now at the start, Nikita Gubenko, looking to do a little bit better than Ivan Kozlov here. Ivan was flying at the top section, but catching his blade under his boat between gate 14 and 15, capsizing, picking up that 50-second time penalty, which will eliminate him from these European Championships. Now, here we are. Nikita Gubenko, 5 seconds up on that second split. He does have a 2-second time penalty. And as I mentioned, for these athletes going off early, it will take quite a good performance to get in. It is different for the athletes competing under the banner of an independent nation because, as I mentioned, in the kayak women's class, they haven't raced for a few years. They used to compete for Russia, not anymore. They're competing under independent nations, and there could be some pretty fast athletes early on here. So we're seeing Gubenko put down a decent run. I think that might be on the bubble for qualification. So he puts down an 89-second run. If we take our eye back to the women's, it was a 91 that won the women's class. So only 2 seconds faster than the top woman. We expect the gap between the men and the women to be closer to 10%. Somewhere around that region. So I think we could be seeing something towards the low 80s here from the best guys. So I think Gubenko will have to wait with his fingers crossed here as he's in that 9 to 10 second buffer of qualification. Now our Lithuanian athlete Mantas, sorry, I'm not going to pronounce that surname. Mantas pushing towards gate 17, 18 here. Hopefully enjoying this nice weather in Vaires-sur-Marne, taking in this crowd, taking in this atmosphere. It'll be a good experience for him. And at the top of the course we have Christian Smilev of North Macedonia. There we see Mantas of Lithuania, just struggling with that tricky last 23-24 combination, picking up a few penalties. And unfortunately, he's 23 seconds behind Nikita Gubenko, so I think that's the last of Mantas that we'll be seeing at this race, unfortunately. But a good experience for him in front of this vibrant crowd at Vaires-sur-Marne. As we see Christian Smilev, North Macedonia, capsizing between the gate 17 and 18. That's caused some trouble in the women's. We saw Lena Tunison also capsize there. It's a tricky move, those two little stopper crosses towards the bottom, especially when these athletes are tired, their arms hurt, they're breathing heavy. You lose a little bit of focus and this water will just do what it likes with you. You can't allow that to happen. You have to stay focused. You have to keep your technique high. As we see with Smilev, he gets punished and he loses concentration into gate 23 and he misses it. And that's the last we'll be seeing of Smilev at this race as he picks up a 50-second time penalty. He's very disappointed with himself at the end there. But good experience for the young Macedonian as his teammate Stefan Rybarski pushes into gate 15. He picks up a 2-second time penalty there. His second of the race. As he takes on that 17 to 18 curl move, falls off the back. Certainly wouldn't have been in his plan. And now taking on the top section, Lithuanian Adrias Avrakinas. Just misjudging the pull on gate 8 there, taking it on a bit too direct. But at the bottom here we have Rybarski with another touch, so 6 seconds in time penalties. It's not that close to Gubenko. 17 seconds behind. Not his best performance, not what he will have planned, but I'm sure he's got many years ahead of him at senior European championships like today. As Andreas Averkinas fights to get back up to gate 14, which it looked like he picked up a 50-second time penalty on. He's going to go correct that mistake now. As at the top, we have our first athlete from Austria, Max Steinbrenner. I believe either 14 or 15 years old, very young paddler, his first year on the senior team. Great experience for him here today. We saw him put down a very solid and quite mature performance for his age yesterday in the team event. Let's see if we'll be seeing the same thing here today. In order to get onto that Austrian senior team, you have to be a very talented, a very gifted athlete, which Max definitely is. And you'll be seeing that here as he starts to challenge Gubenko's time. And he's certainly in touch with Gubenko here. Only 2 seconds behind. As Andreas Averkinas just struggles with that last 23-24. It's deceptively hard. I've been out on the bank and looked at it this morning, and it is quite offset, maybe more so than the live stream gives justice for. As Steinbrenner absolutely roasts gate 17 to 18. That was almost perfect, but he gets a touch on gate 18. That's unlucky. That is seriously unlucky because he did an excellent curl move there. As this run is just starting to slip out of Max's hands a little bit. He's got an 89 to beat. He's not going to compete with that time. He's looking for second place here, which he'll get. But I think he's going to struggle to qualify with a 92.04. 2 seconds behind Gubenko, who we already thought would be on the bubble of qualification. I think it would be a pretty lucky day for Max if we saw him in tomorrow's semi-final. But never say never. You never know what can happen. As we see Ritvaars Chelmins of Latvia with 6 seconds of time penalty so far, but he's only 6 seconds down on raw time, which means on raw time, on raw pace, he is similar to Nikita Gubenko. But as this run goes on more and more, as it gets more technical towards the bottom, I think we see that starting to bite Ritvaars Chelmins a little bit, and his time is just slipping away from him. More touches, more time errors, and he's just too far away from Gubenko here. At the top, though, we have Edgars Gravitis, another Latvian athlete taking on this course here today. 4 seconds down, and he's got 4 seconds of penalties, so his raw time isn't bad, but those penalties, especially for these early athletes, are going to cost them a lot. I think it would have to take a pretty spectacular run to absorb a time penalty or two for these early athletes, as we've got some exceptionally fast paddlers coming down later on in this event. And now, Edgars Gravitis, excuse me, pulling towards the bottom section. Unfortunately, 16 seconds down. As I mentioned, those penalties are going to add up for these early athletes. And they are for Edgars of Latvia. And we won't be seeing him in tomorrow's semi-final. However, Niels Biermans of the Netherlands, only about 1 second away from Nikita Gubenko on raw time now, due to that 2 second time penalty. But as we see, Gubenko's class is just a little bit ahead of these early athletes, as that gap now widens to 5.61 seconds, and Gubenko can sit comfortably, knowing that his time is probably not going to come under challenge from Niels Biermans. But Niels Biermans can look for the third position here, as it's a 16 second gap, and he just about gets inside gate 24, but picks up a touch on the way and comes into third position there, but 8 seconds off the lead. I don't think that will qualify into tomorrow's semi-final, as we have Dordovic from Serbia. Marko Dordovic, only one touch so far, but he's quite far off it on raw time. I didn't watch his top section. I was too busy watching Biermans at the bottom. So I'm not too sure how that went, but the time isn't reflecting anything too positive. But, however, now we have Jan Barta. I mentioned our early athletes aren't too fast. That is not the case for Jan Barta. He's an exceptionally quick athlete. I believe 2018 junior world champion from Ivrea. Competing out of Prague in the Czech Republic. He recently pipped former world champion and former world #1 Vip Prindish to the Czech team. So he's had a recent incredible selection series in the Czech Republic. And I'd be expecting to see Jan Barta in tomorrow's semi-final, barring any big time errors. So this could be the first exceptional run that you see today coming down from Jan Barta. Unfortunately, Dordovic picking up a 50-second time penalty on the last gate. We will not be seeing him in tomorrow's semi-final. The gate's still swinging here for Jan Barta from Dordovic. He won't be thanking him at the finish line for that. Jan Barta deals with the swinging pole, though, manages to stay clean. Picks up that wave from 17 to 18. He's not maybe as high in 18 as he'd like. If we remember Max Steinbrenner there, he was in and out of 18 in one stroke. Not quite the same for Jan Barta. And he picks up a 2-second time penalty there on gate 20 as he touches the pole. I think Jan Barta might struggle here to beat the time of Gubenko. It's going to be a tight one at the end here. I think he'll just go behind. Unfortunately, not the best from Jan Barta there. 0.66 behind Gubenko. He will also be waiting on that bubble of around 35th to 28th, I think. Now, João Cunha, competing for Portugal. I spent some time with him in Liceo de Urgel in March. We competed at the Pyrenees Cup together. Someone I know well, a very gifted paddler technically. As these athletes we start to see higher and higher quality from these athletes now as we come into higher ranked people. Only 2.63 seconds down on Gubenko. Let's see if João Cunha can pick up that advantage on these last two gates. Not as fast as he'd like in that upstream left. Gate 22. Just losing a bit of time there at the bottom. And unfortunately for João, he won't challenge that first race lead time. As we see there, just outside the commentary tent, Joe Clark giving me a wave, looking very ready for his race. We'll be seeing him later on in this event. We can expect a fast race from the 2024 Olympian Joe Clark later on today. Now, if we look at Alexander Fodorenko, his raw time was fast on that first split, but unfortunately something happened at gate 10 and 11. And I didn't have my eye on, but the judges have decided to give him a 50-second time penalty. Certainly not the run that Fodorenko was looking for. If that stays on his time, we won't be seeing the Ukrainian in the next round. But we might be seeing his teammate, Serhii Sovko, competing out of Augsburg, Germany these days, I believe. Unfortunately, with everything that's gone on, there's been a lot of moving around of these Ukrainian athletes, but they've adapted very well, and it's great to see them here at the European Championships as Serhii Sovko rips around gate 9 with lightning speed. And unfortunately, the judges give him a 50-second penalty. They think he didn't get his head inside the gate. It was tight, it was a fast gate. But I think that's a harsh decision there for young Serhii Sovko. Now at the start line, Toma Ukalovic, born in France, but he's got Croatian heritage, and he's competing for his father's country, Croatia. We can expect to see something pretty nice here. He grew up in the French system, so he's got some of that French style, some of that slickness, some of that smoothness. I think this could be a competitor that challenges the race lead time of Nikita Gubenko. And you're seeing that there on the first split. But Tomas Ukalovic losing grip of his paddle on the exit of gate 9. maybe the pressure, maybe the nerves getting to him a little bit. And the man all dressed in white will have to push on. Really have to push on to make up for that time error out of gate 9. And unfortunately there we saw Serhii Sovko pick up a 50-second time penalty on gate 9. That's stuck against his name. And just like his compatriot Fodorenko, we won't be seeing him in tomorrow's semi-final. 50-second time penalty, way too much to qualify with. Now we see our first Irish athlete, Riley Vernon, based out of Nottingham in the UK, competing for his family's nation, Ireland. A very fast athlete, lightning around the gates, very dynamic. He's got not a lot of knowledge of canoe slalom. He certainly knows theory, he knows what he's doing, and we're seeing some of that theory put into practice here. As unfortunately for Toma Ukalovic, his race comes to an end with a 50-second time penalty on the second last downstream gate. But more positively, we can look at this fast run of Riley Vernon that's coming down. The young Irishman is absolutely flying here, 1.87 seconds in the lead now as he approaches that curl move. I expect him to be really well versed on these technical features. It's something we see at his home course of Nottingham. Oh, as Riley just picks up a 2-second time penalty there on that downstream right. Gate 17, he's going to have to turn up the pace here in order to go ahead of Gabenko. He's now 1 second down. We're going to have to see some of that lightning pace at the end here from Riley Vernon. Nice last upstream there from Riley as he pushes out to gate 23, but he goes too tight, way too tight. He doesn't give himself the space he needs. He touches gate 23, and unfortunately for Riley, I think he's going to be disappointed there. The touch is just costing him a place on the top of the leaderboard. He goes into third position, and I think that might just be too much to qualify. Now we have Alvarenga of Portugal with one touch so far. It was on gate 1. Not a very good start touching gate 1. Maybe not totally focused on the start line there, Alvarenga. But he's pushing on here. He's faster than Gabenko on raw time. That touch just costing him. Ivchenko now of Ukraine also putting down his challenge, the last Ukrainian athlete that we see. As Alvarenga gets towards the finish line, looking to get ahead of that time, 89.65 of Gabenko. He's certainly going to challenge here, Federico Alvarenga, and he goes ahead by 1.33 seconds. He's very happy with that. Slaps his hand off his boat in celebration. Federico Alvarenga, we could be seeing him in tomorrow's semi-final. Let's see what happens. Now an exceptionally fast top split there from Ivchenko of Ukraine. Our fastest Ukrainian athlete, I believe. Very, very technical Ivchenko. Very nice on the eye, very good style. And this is a great run from the young Ukrainian. Unfortunately, just slipping low in that last upstream gate, Ivchenko, and he goes really tight to gate 23, and he just gets inside gate 24, but he picks up a touch. Unraveling there for the bottom for Ivchenko. Touches 23 and 24, and he's 4.2 seconds down. Shows you how fast you can go. He was 3.2 seconds up on the third split, and all of a sudden, a poor bottom section, and he's 4.2 seconds down. A 7-second swing there. But Jakub Brzezinski of Poland, looking like he could challenge Federico Alvarenga of Portugal. I think this is one of Jakub Brzezinski's first time on the Polish senior team in canoe slalom. But that does not mean he's not an experienced paddler. He's been on the scene for many years. He's been banging on the door of selection now since around 2021. Really fast paddler, really powerful paddler, very mature. And we're seeing that in today's performance. Clean run, solid run. Very mature from Jakub Brzezinski, and he goes into the lead by 0.59. Happy with that. Jakub Brzezinski is happy with that. As we see, Lucas Jacob, born in Paris, I believe, competing for his father's nation of Portugal. And he's 1.3 seconds faster than Jakub Brzezinski even. Oh, but a 2-second time penalty on gate 13. Not what we expected to see. And gets a nice exit out of the upstream 15 into 16. Looks to jump on that wave from 17 to 18. Looks to get the bow up. In and out of 18. Super tight on that sweep. But he decides to go back for it as he... Oh, he must have thought he only got half of his head inside that gate. It was tight. He's playing it safe here, Lucas Jacob, but he's paying for that safety with time there. 7.9 seconds down now. And at the top of the course, we have last year's 6th place finisher in the kayak men's event, Angel Petrushev of North Macedonia, looking to put down his challenge and continue his fine form at the European Championships. Lucas Jacob, fortunately not the run he was looking for with that paddle back in the middle section. But Angel Petrushev looking like he could be up. He is up on the time of Jakub Brzezinski. He decides to cut the line excellently from gate 14 to 15. That's the best we've seen there. He decided not to use the technical feature, take the more direct route, the more risky route, and it's paid off for Angel Petrushev as he fights to get into gate 18. Now, at the top of the course, Noel Hendrick of Ireland, Paris 2024 Olympian, experienced Irish paddler, knows his way down the course very well, and you're seeing that he's a second up. Angel Petrushev at the bottom here, our 6th place finisher, celebrating as he goes into first by 0.98. A really nice, really tidy run there from Angel Petrushev. That'll be very competitive to qualify. But Noel Hendrick, unfortunately, giving a 50-second time penalty on gate 11. It was swinging a lot. I was watching Angel Petrushev celebrate at the bottom instead of watching Noel's middle section there, so I can't comment on that 50-second time penalty, but it feels harsh as the gate was swinging. Delivering some nice pace here, Noel. He's faster than Angel Petrushev on raw time, as you're seeing there, 48.65 behind, which means it's about 1.35 seconds faster than Angel Petrushev, barring that 50-second time penalty. And he takes a really direct line through 23 and 24, manages to stay clean just about. And his time is faster than Angel Petrushev's just. But 2 50-second time penalties, seeming pretty harsh on the Irish paddler there. Certainly not what he was looking for. But we turn our attention to Eric Holmer. 1.92 seconds down on the first split. Unfortunately, that gap widening now to Angel Petrushev. Eric Holmer progressing down the course here, picking up a late touch on gate 20. He won't challenge for the race lead time. He'll have to hope to slot in behind, but he misses the last gate. Very disappointing there for Eric, unfortunately. Now, Adam Gonzanika, Slovakia. 1.28 seconds down on the first split. Not the top section he will have wanted. He's been on the senior team for a while now, Gonzanika. I believe he was a European Championship finalist back in 2021 in Ivrea, Italy. As he approaches the third split, looks to be on a pretty solid, pretty mature run. Just behind that race lead time of Angel Petrushev. As now we see our first of two Belgian athletes, Maxime Aubertin, training out of Épinal in France. They have a brilliant training center there. I know that he has many training camps up here in Paris. so he'll know how to attack this race course as Adam Gonzanika goes into 4th place. Probably not what he was looking for, and I think he'll have to keep his fingers crossed in order to qualify within the top 30. Now Maxine Aubertin slightly down on the first split, but the crowd getting up for the athlete who lives and trains out of France. Really nice edge work there with his boat between 17 and 18, really edging this race, as Giovanni De Gennaro is the reigning European champion, meaning the nation of Italy is allowed an extra spot as a reward for their athlete winning the European Championships last year. And Michele with a quite unique style. You'll see when he paddles forwards, his elbows are always very low. He looks very relaxed in the boat. And he tends to put down pretty composed performances on a regular basis, and he's 1.14 seconds down. As we see on the excuse me, on the top section, our first British athlete, Ben Haylett. Michele cutting the line a bit too tight for comfort there at the bottom. It goes 2.02 seconds behind, as our full attention now is on the first of our 3 British athletes, Ben Haylett. It's his debut on the senior team, but he's no stranger to senior races. He's raced at World Cups before. He is our reigning under-23 European champion, and he goes for the high line here, but unfortunately he hits his tail and he falls off the stopper between gate 15 and... I'm missing up my gates, between 14 and 15, and he catches his edge into gate 16. It's going to take a really bottom section here from Ben Haylett, as the crowd can hopefully get behind him. There's a good British contingent here to hurry Ben along in this bottom section. He looks like he's really picking up speed here. This bottom section is looking strong from Ben Haylett. He looks to challenge this race lead time, even with that big mistake in that middle section. He delivers the last 2 gates very confidently, and he's going to challenge Andrew Petrusev's race lead time, but unfortunately not quite, as he goes into 3rd place just behind Jakub Brzezinski. Ben Haylett will be waiting on the bubble with that slight time error in the middle, but there's only 30 athletes to go, and there's 30 athletes that qualify. So I'd say that Ben Haylett should be fairly confident to qualify there, somewhere down the bottom of the field. As we see Martin Srabotnik now, 0.53 seconds up on Angel Petrushev's time. It's Srabotnik versus Petrushev for qualification. The next athlete to go down, if they go into the lead, will be qualified for the semi-final. If he goes behind Petrushev, Petrushev will qualify. 30 athletes to go. Stefan Hengst now, Olympian in the kayak cross event here in Paris. He's used to the course. He knows it. He's trained here lots. Let's see how he gets on in the slalom competition, as Martin Srabotnik comfortably takes the lead, 1.65 seconds down. There's that low 80s time that I mentioned could be possible on this course. He's starting to get towards the mid-80s now, I think, as we see our top competitors such as Yuri Priskovich, Jakub Krejci, Joe Clark, Giovanni De Gennaro, people like that. We might see the time of 80, 81 start to get pushed. And as I mentioned, Martin Srabotnik taking the lead, qualifies for tomorrow's semi-final. Angel Petrushev now waiting, and behind him Jakub Brzezinski, then Ben Haylett of Great Britain. All with their fingers crossed for qualification, as Stefan Hengst now, he's quite a lot behind that time of Angel Petrushev. Looks like Petrushev will be qualifying if this continues, and unfortunately for Stefan Hengst it does continue. It looks like he might be eliminated here early on in the competition, something that we didn't expect to see from the experienced German paddler, as he puts down a time of 90.44, 11th place. I don't think we'll be seeing him in tomorrow's semi-final. Now, next to qualify, Jakub Brzezinski, and then Ben Haylett, with Gabriel da Costa now challenging them. 0.17 seconds down on the time of Martin Srabotnik, but the gap to qualify is 2.63 seconds, so Gabriel da Costa has a little bit of time to play with. Nice move there from Gabriel da Costa, leaning forward to accelerate out of the move, and he's up on the time of Srabotnik. These times really starting to topple as these high quality athletes start coming down within this top 30. We have our Swedish Olympian Isaac Åström at the top of the course, getting encouraged by this French crowd. Gabriel da Costa getting held up at the end there a little bit, but he will qualify, I believe, comfortably here as he goes into second place just, and we will see Gabriel da Costa tomorrow in our semi-final. Jaka Brzezinski still waiting here. As we saw in the women's event, sometimes the times just don't fall. Lucia Pistoni, I believe, waited through about 20 athletes and didn't gain her qualification, so it could be a long wait here for Jaka Brzezinski and Ben Halet. But that being said, Isaac Åström, our Swedish Olympian, not putting down his best run. And it looks like he could be handing qualification over to Jaka Brzezinski. Isaac Åström against Jaka Brzezinski for qualification to tomorrow's semi-final. As at the top of the course we see Marcelo Beda, 2021 World Championship medalist. As Isaac Åström struggles even more with the bottom section. He doesn't put in a run that I think will challenge any of our candidates waiting in the wings, and it looks like Jaka Brzezinski is now qualified, so it's Ben Halet waiting for qualification. Ben Halet against Marcelo Beda. Marcelo Beda a long way down on the split here. The gap to qualify is 2.71 seconds. Currently, that's in the favor of Ben Halet. So Marcelo needs to pick up the time here in order to qualify. At the top, coming out of the start blocks, we see our first Spanish athlete, David Llorente. Very experienced paddler, 2019 World Championship medalist. Marcelo Beda now really needs to smash these last three gates out the park in order to go above Ben Halet, which I don't think he'll do. I think we can celebrate. The Ben Halet fan club can celebrate here. They can, as Ben gains qualification by 0.36 seconds. Even with that mistake from Ben, he qualifies to tomorrow's semi-final, and he'll be hoping to right some of those wrongs that he saw in his run today to qualify for tomorrow's final. Now Marcelo Beda is the next athlete waiting. Up against David Llorente of Spain. Nice move on gate 17-18 there from David Llorente. Only 0.2 seconds behind Martin Srabotnik. Picks up a 2-second time penalty there on gate 20. This will be tight now between Marcelo Beda and David Llorente for qualification. Delivering that gate 23-24 very nicely. He'll qualify. Third position for David Llorente, and he's through to tomorrow's semi-final. Martin Halsen up on the first split. Losing a little bit of his advantage now, Halsen. And picking up a 2-second time penalty. This is going to be tight now between Beda and Halsen for qualification. Jan Roa gets the bow up into gate 15, the upstream gate. Just struggles to get out there a little bit, costing him a little bit of raw time. So I expect him to be down again by a little bit more in this next split compared to Martin Srabotnik. And he loses another 0.5 seconds of time. But that was a very direct move, keeping the bow on top of the water between gates 20 and 21. As he moves into 22, exits very quickly. Look, his bow's always pointing towards the finish in 23 and 24. And that's a very fast bottom section. He regains the time he lost. And 0.26 behind, he qualifies for tomorrow's semi-final. Now the crowd really getting hyped up for Benjamin Renia, the experienced Frenchman. He put down an incredible performance at the French selections here. It was great to watch then. Struggling a bit on raw time though. It's a 3.22 second gap to qualify. Benjamin Renia would have been one of the favourites to qualify here. Let's hope he can turn it up a little in this bottom section. There you go, Benjamin Renia Showing his class, turning it up, turning the screw. Him versus Alvarenga for qualification. He has to stay clean on these last 3 gates. He's done this move before. You can tell how composed he was there. Comes through 23-24 very quickly and he'll qualify. As now we have Galindo Chiarello, I believe the bronze medalist of last year's European Championships in Tatsin. He'll be looking to replicate that European success again this year. As we can see the Swiss contingent on the riverbank running down with him, encouraging him on. As he stays nice and in touch with Martin Srabotnik here. Just finding a little bit of balance between gate 17 and 18, but he does it well. Pushing now towards gate 19, 20, and 21. Very direct on that stagger there. His bow is always downstream, meaning he's done it very quickly. Holds that pole on gate 23, throws his head at it a little bit. His boat comes out of control and he touches gate 24. He's given a 50-second time penalty on 24. I think that's very harsh. That only looked like a touch to me. I wouldn't be surprised if that decision gets changed there for Galindo Chiarello. If it does, he will qualify for the semi-final. If it doesn't, then it stays as Alvarenga qualifying for tomorrow's semi-final with Michele Pistoni waiting with his fingers crossed. With only a 3.67 second deficit. That's the gap to qualify. That's the gap that Dariusz Popiela will be looking to slot into. Very tight upstream there, 18 for Popiela. Only 1.1 seconds down. It's looking good so far. As we see Olympic silver medalist from Tokyo 2020, Jakub Grigor, absolutely flying through gate 6, maybe taking a bit more risk than he needs there. But he gets away with it, and that risk-taking reflects positively in the first split. As we see Popiela there, slotting into 5th position, 0.72 behind, easily qualifying for tomorrow's semi-final. And earlier we saw Jan Roa tie on time with Gabriel da Costa. That's happened a few times today now, as he went into tied 2nd position and qualifies for the semi-final. Now Jakub Grigor still up on Martin Srabotnik, and what I will say is that that bottom split from Martin Srabotnik wasn't that fast, meaning Jakub Grigor might be more in touch now than he was before, and he is 1.44 up. I expect if he keeps paddling like this, he will go into the lead by quite a margin. He's got an 85-second lead to challenge. He's going to topple that lead comfortably, and he's 1.72 seconds ahead. An exceptional run, very mature run from our Olympic silver medalist from Tokyo, Jakub Grigor. 18 competitors to go. Olympic finalist now, Noah Heger. Olympic bronze medalist in the kayak cross event here in Paris 2024. He's performed in this arena before. I'm sure he's confident that he can do it again, and he's delivering an extremely mature curl move there from 14 to 15. Now 17 to 18, again, very mature. You always saw his boat there, it was always out of the water. That's what you want. You want to have control of it. That's exactly what Noah Heger has as he's approaching these last 3 gates now. Now Mario Leitner, our 2nd Austrian paddler. Mario loves to do big whitewater kayaking. I believe he loves to paraglide as well. I think that's the word for it. He's an extremely adventurous guy. Loves to send it. I think you're seeing that a little bit with this run. He's sending it a bit here, and he's putting in a solid run. Only 1.45 seconds behind Jakub Grigor, who had a fast bottom section. So it'll take a really top run for Mario Leitner to stay in touch, but he exits really tight out of gate 15, excuse me. And gets speed away into gate 18. You saw the acceleration on his boat there. signifies that this is becoming very quick now for Mario Leitner. Looking like he's provisionally slotting into second position. And now at the top of the course, our second Spanish athlete, Pau Echanes, Olympic bronze medalist on this course. He put down the run he dreamed of at the Paris Olympics. And he's clearly taking that confidence into here as he's putting down a very calm and collected top section. Mario Leitner there, slotting into fifth position. We'll see him tomorrow in the semi-final. As I mentioned before, Galindo Chiarello, he did have that 50-second penalty removed. So Galindo Chiarello is now qualified as well. And it's still Federico Alvarenga waiting for qualification. It's him against Pau Echanes. But by the looks of things, Pau Echanes has a strong advantage here. Staying composed on this course that he knows how to perform on. He's good at those little technical moves, such as 17 to 18. He leans forward to re-accelerate his boat. And 3.72 seconds. He's within qualification time, which is 4.94 seconds. He'll need to stay clean here to qualify. Delivers that 23-24 move very well. And he should qualify into tomorrow's semi-final here. 3.67 seconds. Maybe not the run that Pau would have hoped for, but a very mature performance, a composed performance. Didn't really look like he got out of third gear, and he qualifies for tomorrow's semi-final, saving some energy for that race. And now, Hannes Aigner, multiple Olympic medalist, one of the most decorated kayak men of all time. Flying down this course as the big German unfortunately crashes through the wave from gate 14 to 15, costing him a little bit of raw time. He's 2.5 seconds down as he approaches gate 18. Does well to re-accelerate his boat there. We'll see where he is on this split. He's 4.38 seconds down. It's 4.94 seconds to qualify. So this is going to be tight here for Hannes Aigner. As at the top of the course, we can watch our second British athlete, Johnny Dixon, flying down this top section. Unfortunately picking up a touch on gate 6, but it's nothing that Johnny Dixon can't absorb. As Hannes Aigner drops into 19th position there. He's 3 spots away from qualifying. I don't think we'll be seeing Hannes in the semi-final, unfortunately. That's a big omission. But our attention should turn to Johnny Dixon as he's really attacking this course now. 2.33 seconds behind. He's within qualification, and on raw time, barring that touch, he is flying. Delivers that curl move very, very well as he looks to approach this second curl move. Johnny's good at these little moves like this. He knows how to keep his boat on top of the water. He knows how to re-accelerate. As he struggles a little bit getting into gate 18, it looks like he missed a stroke on his right-hand side. And it's showing a little bit on the time as he's 5 seconds behind. It's him versus Stefan Hengst for qualification. He'll need to deliver a fast bottom up. And that's what he does as he gains some height for this move on 23 to 24. Has to stay clean here to qualify, and he does. And Johnny Dixon is going to be on the bubble here to qualification. But it's not a bad run at all, and he puts his run into 16th place. Him and Ben Haylett, 2 British paddlers, both qualified for tomorrow's semi-final, where Johnny will be looking to replicate his success from the 2023 World Cup, where he achieved a silver medal on this course. But now, Miguel Trave, pushing through the middle section. He's fairly close to Jakob Grieger on this first split. Fortunately falling through the wave there, not costing him too much time. Miguel Trave, a very dynamic, nimble and fast paddler. He's small in stature, but he produces a lot of force through the blade, and he uses the boat excellently on that move. His use of the boat, use of the blade, and technicality is second to none in this senior field. Pushes through 23-24, and it looks like Trave is going to qualify here. As we see the young Italian, Xabi Ferrazzi, flying through gate 9, really attacking this course. Xabi does have a knack for making canoe slalom look quite effortless. It's a nice style to watch. Always look very composed. Only 1 second down on Jakob Grieger. Xabi Ferrazzi here, provisionally second place. He is the junior world champion from 2023 in Krakow. He's a senior finalist And he delivers 18 excellently. Just using that right blade twice on the sweep there to re-accelerate him away as he flies through that bottom section. Nice composure here into gate 23. That was pretty tight from Jabi, but nothing he's not used to as he flies into second place. Nicely done from Jabi. He looks happy with that run. We'll see him compete tomorrow. He's someone who I think we could see in tomorrow's final. As now, Polacek of Poland begins his charge for the semi-final. Getting towards the tighter end of racing now. We're seeing some really fast athletes, some really experienced athletes. Mateusz Polacek a little bit out of character there, just absolutely destroying gate 15 with his right blade. Hopefully that's not still swinging for our next athlete, Zhigalin Hocevar. As Polacek now, he's outside of qualification time if he continues like this. He's going to need a fast bottom section here to jump ahead of Stefan Hengst. And it looks like he's managed to achieve that fast bottom section as he slots into 13th place and qualifies for tomorrow's semi-final. Now, Zhigalin Hocevar, only 0.9 seconds down on the first split. A very smart paddler, paddles with his brain. His sister earlier qualifying for the semi-final in the kayak women event. We expect to see Ziga again in the C1 event, wearing his European Championship bib, struggling with gate 15, similarly to Polacek there. But that's a time penalty that I'm sure Zhigalin will absorb, as I think it will take another high-profile mistake for Zhigalin to not qualify through to this semi-final. As we see, one of the most exciting paddlers on the circuit, Jakub Krejci. One of the more aggressive styles, but one of the fastest boats on this start line. He absolutely tore up the Czech selection event in the recent weeks, and he's showing that he's 0.24 seconds up. He regularly qualifies in high positions. He always seems comfortable in qualification events, as Zhigalin Hocevar there slots into 11th place into tomorrow's semi-final. And Jakub Krejci 0.52 seconds up on a fast time from Jakub Grigor. Krejci showing how aggressive he is, but a 50-second time penalty showing up on gate 14. I didn't personally think that was a 50. That didn't raise any alarm bells to me. I think that's a harsh judge's decision, but something that's for sure is that he has a touch on gate 15, that's for sure. And a touch now on gate 20. If this 50 gets removed, he's still going to have to produce a really fast bottom section here to qualify. This is out of character for Jakub Krejci, as he just struggles through this tricky course here at Vaires-sur-Marne, and he puts in a total time of 86, but plus 50, which I think is harsh. This could be similar to Galindo Chiarello, where the 50 gets removed by the video judges later on. So keep your eye on that result from Jakub Krejci. But now, Felix Ochmarts looking to challenge Jakub Grigor's race lead time. Struggling a little bit now in this middle section, Felix Ochmarts. He picks up the wave into the up left 18, and he stays tight around the pole. He's struggling a bit on the time though. It's 5.14 second gap to qualify. Felix needs to turn it up in order to not put himself outside of the qualification spots early on here in the race. Felix approaching the finish line. Looks like he'll qualify here. 24th place. Not the best from Felix Ochmarts as he puts himself on the bubble. Felix Ochmarts is now next to qualify in 24th place. 5.23 second deficit. And these are some really fast paddlers to be coming down here, so I think Ochmarts might have to get quite lucky in order to qualify. As Martin Duguid, based out of Pau in France, competing for Switzerland, starts to challenge Jakub Grigor and starts to challenge Felix Ochmarts for qualification. staying relaxed, staying composed. Martin Duguid. Very direct on that stagger. As I mentioned earlier, his bow stays very straight. It's an indication of a fast stagger, but Martin Duguid picks up a touch on gate 22 there, and he's stuck on gate 23. It's Duguid versus Otschmautz for qualification. Otschmautz's raw time, and Martin Duguid just pips him, so Otschmautz is still waiting. But you can hear in the background the French crowd getting seriously hyped up for Anatole Delessus, reigning under-23 world champion, reigning World Cup overall winner. This is a man you can expect to see contend for medals tomorrow, I believe. Someone we'd expect to see qualify comfortably. Let's see if he can show his class in these qualification events, and he flies across there. His boat just staying super smooth, super locked in on that feature. And he's 1.18 seconds faster than that rapid time of Jakob Grieger. Anatole's going to qualify here, there's no doubt about that, but will he qualify and take first position? I think he might. I said we could get into the low 80s. It looks like Anatole's going to push that. 81.87, incredible from Anatole Delessus, a show of class. And at the bottom there, he doesn't even celebrate. It's an everyday thing for someone of Delessus's caliber. Now, speaking of caliber, Peter Kauser approaching the back straight section. World champion, Olympic medalist, arguably the greatest kayak man of all time. Him and Yuri Priskovich in that Messi Ronaldo-esque debate between the GOATs. He's getting on now though, 41 years of age, but he's still cruising down canoe slalom courses, showing these young guys how it's done, and he's way within qualification time. Now at the top of the course we see who I suspect may be the fastest athlete of this entire race, Titouan Castries. Olympic silver medalist. Could have had gold if it wasn't for a mistake in the middle section at the Paris 2024 Olympics as Peter Kauser qualifies. Now, Titouan fighting against his compatriot Anatole Delessus for first place. Titouan with a very upright style. His blade always goes in at his toes. He applies maximum force through his blade. If there's any young paddlers watching this stream, this is a paddler to replicate your style off. This is a paddler to watch and take inspiration from. Extremely smooth, extremely well versed at big events like this. Oh, incredible. He rights the wrongs of the Olympics with that exceptional curl move there, and he's going to be up on Anatole Delessus by 1.63 seconds. This is a rapid time here from Titouan Castries as he really entertains this French crowd. And at the top, we have Olympic champion from Rio 2016, Joe Clark. Titouan Castries pushing towards the finish line now. This is an exciting time. It could be below 80. He floats to the finish line nonchalantly. A real show of character there from Titouan Castries because he goes 1.83 seconds in the lead. Now, Joe Clark, a little bit off of the race lead time of Titouan Castries, but Joe doesn't need to push the time here in order to qualify. He is by far fast enough to qualify comfortably to tomorrow's semi-final and join his teammates Johnny Dixon and Ben Haylett in tomorrow's semi-final. Only 1.78 down on Titouan Castries' time, which means he's ahead of Anatole Delessus's time. And remember, Anatole put down an exceptional run as Joe Clark stays tight around gate 15 there, makes it look easy as he approaches this next curl move. The boat kicks up a little bit there, not as fast as Joe will have liked, but he makes up that time on gate 18. And he's lost a little bit of raw time now, 4.37 seconds down, but that still puts him above Xabi Ferrazzi in 4th position. And as I said, Joe knows that he doesn't have to push the lines here. He doesn't have to push the time. He's going to go into the lead. He's going to go into qualification, barring a massive mistake. And there it is, a comfortable run from Joe Clark. He's in tomorrow's semi-final, and we have the other potential GOAT of this kayak men's category, Yuri Priskovich. 1.67 seconds down on Titouan Castries, so on par with Anatole Delessus's time. And look at Yuri here, barely putting in any strokes, barely putting much speed on the boat because it comes naturally for him. One of the nicest styles to watch. Incredibly talented, incredibly physical athlete as well. He's into his cross-country skiing. He's incredibly fit, and that's showing in this bottom section here, as Giovanni De Gennaro, our Olympic champion and reigning European champion, starts his charge at the top of the course. Yuri Priskovich now keeping the boat very flat into gate 23, composed in gate 24. He pushed the boat out the way of the pole, so he didn't touch it. No time penalties, 6th place, comfortable for Yuri Priskovich, slotting just behind Martin Duguid. And Joe Clark, who we saw before, slotting into 15th position. He'll go off in the middle of the field tomorrow in the semi-final. And now Giovanni De Gennaro, you can hear the crowd getting hyped up. The French crowd have seen his excellence on this course before when he won the Olympics here not long ago. Giovanni never looks like he's traveling that fast, but it's deceptive. He is one of the fastest moving boats on the entire international circuit. Stays super tight around 18. When he leaves the upstream gates, his bow is always pointing exactly where he intends it to go. He's one of the best in the world at that. It's something that, again, young athletes can take inspiration from here. Look, gate 22, he leaves exactly where he intends to be, takes a direct line to 23, and delivers that not quite as he would intend. Touches gate 24, but no worries for Giovanni De Gennaro. The Olympic champion will be in the semi-final tomorrow. An exciting qualification there. And unfortunately, Felix Ochmautz, who I mentioned was on the bubble, is eliminated in the first run here. Something we didn't expect to see from the 8th highest ranked man at this competition. Eliminated the 2024 Olympian, along with Hannes Aigner, the, I believe, 3-time Olympic medalist, or 2-time, I can't remember. Eliminated as well. That's tough to see, but Titouan Castries, the local hero, he could have gone under 80 seconds if he wanted to, but he floated to the finish line. He didn't need to go any faster. He nonchalantly floated. A real show of strength from Titouan Castries, closely followed by his teammate and friend Anatole Delassus. In there we have Olympic champion from 2016 Joe Clark. We have 2020 Olympic champion Yuri Priskovich. And we also have 2024 Olympic champion Giovanni De Gennaro, all qualifying to tomorrow's semi-final, which I'm sure will be an exciting watch. And Isak Åström, the Swedish Olympian. He looked unlikely to qualify at one point, but now he manages to put his name in there, barring any late changes. And Jan Barta, unfortunately, the Czech athlete, missing out on qualification here, along with his Czech teammate Jakub Krejci, which is a big surprise, as Jakub Krejci and Jan Barta are two top athletes that we'd expect to see in tomorrow's semi-final. Unfortunately, we get to miss out on their excellence on the course. There is Jakub Krejci showing that 50-second time penalty. He'd be comfortably within qualification time without it. Now at 11:30 Central European time, so in 7 minutes, we can look forward to Cleo Pitcher-Farrell of Ireland leading off the canoe women event. We'll see you then. Okay, and we're back. We had a DNS there from the Irish athlete, so our first athlete now is Elisa Taylor, who we've seen before in the kayak women's event earlier today, and struggling a lot with this first move from gate 2 to 3. Oh. She looks like she's all right, though. Getting back up. Oh, maybe not all right. We hope the Latvian athlete's okay there after that rough start. She looks like she may have hurt herself. Maybe her spray deck came off. Ah, her spray deck came off. Not the ideal start for the Latvian athlete, but hopefully she makes it down the rest of the course. This is, I think, the first time I've ever seen this at an international race. And the next athlete is starting, as they're going to go past Elisa Taylor in the same eddy. Hopefully the Greek athlete, Georgia Aurelia, fares a bit better with this move from 1 to 2, and she does. She moves towards gate 3. Oh, and unfortunately there for Georgia Aurelia, she capsizes between gates 5 and 6. She's currently got a 50-second time penalty showing on gate 6. Let's see if she goes back for it, though. Oh my word, we have a crash. That's not an ideal collision. The Latvian athlete should have waited there. That wasn't very clever to come down on top of the Greek athlete. As she got overtaken, she should have given the Greek athlete some space, but unfortunately we didn't see that. We saw a little collision. Thankfully, both athletes looked to be okay. And the Greek, Georgia Aurelia, continues on her run. As the first athlete from the independent nations, Marina Novic, someone who we've also seen in the kayak women's event earlier today, flying down past gate 6 and gate 7 and past our Latvian athlete, Elisa Taylor. Now, unfortunately, none of our athletes have finished yet that have been down so far. Elisa Taylor currently on a 190-second run, and Georgia Aurelia on a 140-second run, but she crosses the line on a raw time of 137, but she has 258 seconds in penalty time. So maybe not the run that Aurelia would have hoped for. Obviously getting crashed into there by the Latvian athlete. Not the best start to this category, not the smoothest start. But we'll be seeing more quality now as more athletes come down. And here is the first athlete from the independent nations. As I mentioned, Marina Novic, quickly followed by Alzu Minatsova, both competing for the independent nations. And here we have our first athlete from the Czech Republic, Adriana Morinova. Her first year on senior team yesterday, she became European champion in the team event in her debut senior team race. A pretty excellent start to her senior career. She makes her way down the course, and Novic crosses the line with a 50-second time penalty, which has been taken away. It's hard to read the results. I think things are a bit up and down. with all the changeovers in athletes, so I'll update you on the scoreboard as soon as I can. But it should be kept in mind that only 37 athletes are competing in this event and 30 qualify through. Therefore, we'll only be missing out and saying goodbye to 7 canoe athletes this morning. So for some of these top athletes, like Adriana Morinova, like Alsu Minatsova, I'd expect a pretty comfortable run being able to qualify. And there we see Alsu Minatsova doing a total time of 132 seconds. I think that'll probably qualify as it's clean. And now Adriana Morinova takes Alsu Minatsova to the cleaners for 23.48 seconds. That's a comfortable lead for Morinova. And I expect us to see Morinova in tomorrow's semi-final. But we've got to wait and see. And our first Norwegian athlete, Vaires-sur-Marne. Bit down on the split, provisionally in 3rd position now. Just struggling with this tricky course here at Vaires-sur-Marne and hoping not to get a pre-touch on that gate 15, but she's gone through gate 15 before she's, gate 16, sorry, before she's got to gate 15. Therefore, that's a 50-second time penalty. We call that a pre-touch. You basically navigate the gate before you've done the gate before, if that makes sense. Meaning that a 50-second time penalty is rewarded on gate 15. So unfortunately for Vaires-sur-Marne, it will be very difficult for her now to qualify through to tomorrow's semi-final. As we see our Swiss athlete here, just pulling out of gate 15, Eileen Vuillemeyer. Excuse me if I mispronounce some names. Only got the 2 touches so far, and she's still up on the split, on the second split time. Therefore, she could be well in touch to challenge our race lead here, and she is 0.82 behind, in front of, sorry, Adriana Morinova. So this is a great run from Eileen Vuillemeyer. Picking up another touch on gate 23, but on a 50-second time penalty on gate 24 for Eileen Vuillemeyer. I personally don't agree with that judge's decision. I think her head was inside the gate, but it's very harsh for the young Swiss paddler to take. Anyway, now we have Kimberly Rappa, who's also been given a 50-second time penalty. Hers coming on gate 15. So only 2 athletes currently being able to make it down the course without a 50-second time penalty, just showing how tricky this course here in Vaires-sur-Marne is. And Kimberly Rappa now approaching 22, 23 and 24. Excuse me if I'm mumbling up my words, guys, here. I've been speaking for a while this morning. Starting to stumble a little bit. But Kimberly Rappa, there we go, slots into 5th place, just behind Eileen Vuillemeyer of Switzerland. And we have our first semi-finalist, Adriana Morinova, as suspected, qualifies through to tomorrow's semi-final. And now the gap for qualification is 23.48 seconds. And that time is held by Alsu Minatsova of the Independent Nations. Now Laura Pelliser on course, unfortunately also has a 50-second time penalty, which means, barring the best bottom section we think we've ever seen, it'll be Alsu Minatsova qualifying for tomorrow's semi-final. And there we are, Pellicer crosses the line. Unfortunately, not the run she was looking for. 6th place for her, just behind Kimberly Rapper of Germany. And Alzu Minetsova qualifies through. And now the time to beat is a time that has a 50-second time penalty. It is Marina Novish, 46.4 seconds down off the pace. It's her versus Lauren Rozin for a qualification to the semi-final. Now, a 46-second time difference is absolutely massive. Therefore, I think it will be pretty obvious when someone's struggling for qualification, as it's going to take a massive paddle back mistake, but more likely a 50-second time penalty in order for someone to miss out on qualification. So it seems now that the name of the game in the women's C1 event here is go down without a 50-second penalty, and you will probably be through. But in a turn of events, Novish, I think, is given another touch. No, my mistake. Lauren Rosen just takes the lead and qualifies for the semi-final comfortably, 6.18 seconds ahead of Adriana Moranova. Now we have Alexandra Gora, I believe formerly Alexandra Stack, as some of you may recognize her as, recently married, still competing for Poland, still racing at a canoe slalom at a high level, and she's showing her class here as she navigates her way down this course in Vaires-sur-Marne. And Alexandra Gora, as I mentioned, some of you may know her as Alexandra Stack, getting towards the bottom of this course and comfortably qualifies for the semi-final. Well done to her. And we have Lena Tunison now on course. She's up on the first 2 splits, looking for her place in tomorrow's semi-final. And now we have our first British athlete, Beth Forrow. This is her first major international event after coming back from having her first child, Rowan. A very meaningful race for her here, as her son is on the bank watching her. I'm sure she'll be doing him proud with this run here. As it's looking like a great composed start from the under 23 2020 from the 2021 under 23 world champion Beth Forrow. And Lena Tunison there goes 3.28 seconds behind Lauren Rozan and comfortably qualifies for tomorrow's semi-finals. Now Beth Forrow beginning to approach this bottom section. She's picking up more touches than she would have liked. But remember, without a 50-second time penalty, she will probably qualify to tomorrow's semi-final. Another touch here for Beth Forrow. As I say, more than she would have liked, but she's getting her eye back into international competition here. She's just taking it nice and smooth, nice and relaxed, feeling her way back in. And she will qualify for tomorrow's semi-final. We will see Beth Forrow there. Now, as you can hear in the background, the French crowd getting extremely excited for Dorian Delassus. We saw her brother earlier qualify with an exceptional run. He came second in the kayak man. That was Anatole Delassus. Now, Dorian looking to lay down her benchmark for everybody else, competing for the lead against her teammate, Laurent Rozan. Only 0.44 down for Dorian Delassus now. 0.47 down, excuse me. On this third split, she's definitely in touch with her teammate, Laurent. As now at the top, we have Elena Micozzi from Italy. And here we see the French athlete going 1.73 seconds in the lead. Those two French girls at the top carrying on from yesterday's success as they won silver in the team event together yesterday and have now both qualified for the semi-final in excellent positions. And now a bronze medalist from yesterday's team event, Elena Makotsi. Just making her way down the course here. Got 2 touches so far. Not the ideal run, but remember, if she doesn't have a 50-second time penalty, she will probably qualify for tomorrow's semi-final. Elena Makotsi now 10 seconds down on that last split, but the gap to qualify is 31 seconds. And Elena Makotsi goes 12 seconds behind and qualifies to tomorrow's semi-final. Still on the bubble, we have Alzu Minetsova waiting for qualification. As we see now, Alja Kozarog of Slovenia making her way down the course on a clean run so far, looking like she's going to comfortably qualify. We also have Emanuela Luknarova, who we've seen twice in the team event yesterday and once this morning in the women's kayak event. I do think that the C1 category is more Luknarova's bag. This is, I think, what she excels in, and she's showing that with her extremely fast top split, 1.19 seconds up. Flying through this course. Alja Kozarog, a late touch on gate 22 there, but that's okay. She's way within qualification time as she crosses the line in 6th place. It's still 9th place, Alzu Minetsova in a 31.39 second deficit. That's the barrier for qualification. That's what Emanuela Luknarova is chasing. She has a bit of a rodeo from 17 to 18, but manages to style it out. And she's still in touch with the split of Doriane Delassus. At the top of the course, unfortunately, she's not on screen at the moment. We do have Elena Marks, and she's only 0.2 seconds down on the first split, so Elena Marks is having a good run so far off screen. As Emanuela Luknarova crosses the line in 3rd and qualifies for the semi-final. Elena Marks now, I believe 2024 Olympian, trained here lots, knows this course well. She drops her T-piece there between gates 14 and 15, so as she switched her paddle around, she didn't quite put her top hand back on the grip, and she just had to grab the shaft of the paddle on her way into 15, but she styled it out very well. Made it hard to notice her mistake. And she stays in touch with the split of Doriane Delassus. She doesn't just stay in touch, she goes up on the split. There you go, there was a better switch there from Elena Marks. She comes in this course that comes into the end of this course that she competed at the 2024 Olympics. And it looks like she could challenge for the lead here, just behind by 0.44 seconds, but a very good run from Elena Marks in qualification for the semi-final. Now, we have a non-starter from whoever bib 19 was. It's not showing up on the screen who that was. It was Mirin Lazcano, who unfortunately is a DNS for this event. It could explain why the Spanish didn't put together a team run yesterday. Hope all is well with Mirin Lazcano, but now we turn our attention to Elena Borghi at the top of the course. Dropping a bit low in gate 6, the under-23 world champion from 2022. Trains out of Ivrea in northern Italy. starting to put down a real good challenge here to the race lead time of Doriane de la Suze. And Elena looking very composed here. Know that it doesn't take her best run to qualify. It'll just take something comfortable, and she can gain some experience for tomorrow's semi-final. As she throws her boat onto the feature from 14 to 15, maybe just trying out a different way to do it ahead of the semi-final tomorrow, as that move may be repeated in the course design. Now, Ellis Miller from Great Britain at the top of the course, throwing down her challenge on Doriane de la Suze's race time. The gap to qualify now is 54 seconds to Marina Novish. So barring an absolute disaster from Ellis Miller, she is absolutely more than capable of qualifying, as we're seeing there with that top split being only 0.19 seconds ahead of Doriane de la Suze. Super tight racing here in Vaires-sur-Marne as Elena Borghi pushes towards the finish line, spins 23 excellently, and sprints towards the finish. She's going to comfortably qualify, drops into 7th place, and we'll see Elena Borghi tomorrow in the semi-final. As Ellis Miller stays in touch with Doriane de la Suze. She turns her boat excellently on the upstream blade into gate 15. Now she decides to go for the spin move from 17 over to 18. It just allows her to point her boat in the right direction, and it doesn't cost her too much time. A wise move from Ellis in these qualification rounds. I'm sure her and her coach, two-time Olympic silver medalist Richard Hounslow, have been discussing some of these spin moves that Ellis is going for in order to just put down a comfortable qualification run, not make any silly mistakes, and not take any unnecessary risks. As Ellis just picks up a few touches in that bottom section, she'll be disappointed with that, but it doesn't matter for qualification as she flies through to tomorrow's semi-final. As I said, the gap to qualify is now 54.31 seconds to Marina Novish of the independent nations, closely followed by Eileen Vuillemeyer of Switzerland. And that's the time that Leah Novak will be chasing. She was disappointed with her run in kayak earlier, not qualifying for the semi-final. She'll be hoping to right those wrongs in the canoe class right now. Looking like a nice composed run here from Leah Novak. Really unfazed by her disappointing performance in kayak. Just a testament to the mental skills of these athletes, managing to put that disappointing first run, which was only about an hour and a half ago, behind her immediately and displaying an excellent performance here in the qualification rounds. Drops into 10th place and qualifies for the semi-final. Now, Sonia Stadovska of Slovakia on a clean run so far, not too far away from Doriane de la Suze's leading run time. She looks very comfortable when it comes to the qualification for tomorrow's semi-final. And at the top of the course, we have Nelly Bain of the German team. Trying to push the line into this first split, just opening up the course a little into gate 8 and gate 9, taking that safe route a little bit into the upstream gate 9. She knows that it doesn't take a spectacular run to qualify. So you see that her lines are just a little bit more safe than usual. She's in the middle of all these gates. She's not pushing under the poles. She's not taking the most direct line possible because she doesn't need to. And as we're coming into the top 14 and 13 girls now, I think a lot of these women will be seeing this run as a touch of experience, a touch of learning for tomorrow's semi-final, as the qualification of 54 seconds should be comfortable for all these women now. Nelly Bay now approaching the finish line. As I said, a comfortable run. She knew what she needed to do to qualify, and she has done that. Slots into 6th place, and we'll see her tomorrow. Now, Clara Olazabal of Spain, putting down a really nice performance so far. Up on the first 2 splits from ahead of Doriane de la Sousse. But she drops her edge. She collapsed a little bit on her right edge, and the water just pushed her through that stopper there. Not the best use of her boat, but the rest of her run has been incredible so far, and she only is 0.55 behind Doriane de la Sousse with a big time error there. So it just shows you how fantastic Clara Olazabal has been up to this point. And it looks like even with that time error, even with the loss of her edge on that stopper, Clara Olazabal is going to slot into some of the top positions here. She goes 6th and qualifies for the semi-final. Now, Martina Satkova, the first of the 2 Satkova sisters, competing for the Czech Republic, I believe based out of Prague. Only half a second up now on Doriane de la Sousse. Dropping pretty low in gate 15. Not staying very tight to the inside pole, but there's no worries there when it comes to qualification. Now at the top of the course we have the Italian athlete Marta Bertoncelli, bronze medalist yesterday in the team event. She's had a great start to her season at some international ranking races and at the Italian selection series. She's been competing well, been training hard in Ivrea, Italy, along with her friend who we saw earlier, Elena Borghi. Those 2 are top training duo, and we see there Martina Satkova going 2.28 seconds into the lead. Excellent performance there from Satkova, as Bertoncelli now is the next that tries to topple that race lead time. I know that some of these Italians, including Marta, have been working with Slavkovski, the former C1 man of Slovakia, extremely experienced paddler, knows all about coaching and knows all about canoe slalom. He's been helping out the C1s, Marta and Raffaello Ivaldi, who we expect to see next, with some technical gains, and I think you're seeing that in Marta's performances here at the start of the season and at the European Championships. We hope to see that with Raffaello Ivaldi later on in the canoe men's event. Now at the top of the course, Nuria Villarubla. Marta looking a little bit disappointed there. I think the run fell away from her a little bit in that bottom section, but it's hard to turn up and do your best run when you know that all you need to do is qualify. And the gap is 56.59 seconds to qualify. Now, Nuria Villarubla looking very composed, very relaxed, experienced athlete. Qualified through many European Championships before, as Victoria Urs, who we saw previously in the women's kayak event, just crashing into the wall there on 6, but only a minor time error for the experienced Ukrainian, who we'd expect to qualify quite comfortably through. Nuria Villarubla, the veteran Spaniard, getting towards the bottom, 3.67 seconds down. Absolutely no worries for her, slots into 4th place. We'll see her tomorrow, fighting for the final. 6.38 seconds down now from Victoria Urs. No worries, she's got another 50 seconds to play with, as she picks up a 2-second time penalty, it seems, on gate 15. Just having a bit of trouble here, Victoria Urs. Picks up 3 touches in a row on 15, 16, 17, and then fell off the wave. So a really disappointing section for her there. And it reflects in the time being 17 seconds down. But 17 seconds down will put her around 19th which is way within the qualification spots. And there you have it, Victoria is slotting into 20th, qualifying for tomorrow's semi-final, hoping to put down a slightly more competitive run, I'd imagine. Well, that's something that she's certainly capable of at this level. Now, Eva Alina Hočevar of Slovenia, fighting her way up back into gate 18 after dropping a little bit low. And you can hear this French crowd now getting very hyped up for Angèle Hug. The French C1 woman. Look at the challenge, Martina Sakova at the top. She's going to struggle to do that with a touch. But let's see what the talented French athlete can do as Eva Alina Hočevar slots into 12th place, just ahead of Marta Bertoncelli, and qualifies for the semi-final. Now, Angèle Hug, with a 2-second time penalty, is only 2.79 seconds down. So she's very fast on raw time here. Gets a little bit held by that stopper between 20 and 21. Don't think we'll challenge for the race lead. Oh no! Angèle Hug looks like she's missed the last two gates. She was on such a comfortable run, and she's decided to turn. I don't know what she's doing. No. That's massively disappointing for Angèle Hug, as she face palms at the end there. She could have gone back for those two gates and easily qualified, but she kept going towards the finish line and broke the finish beam. And it's a disappointing end to what was a solid run there from the French athlete, and that's a surprise omission from tomorrow's semi-final. Really disappointing. And next on the bubble then is Eileen Vulemir, as Marina Novic from the Independent Nations has qualified with a 50-second time penalty. Now Claudia Zwolinska approaching the bottom. We've seen her already in the kayak category. She qualified earlier today. She'll be looking to do the same here in canoe. And barring a 50-second time penalty like Angèle Hug had, she shall make it through. Just about manages to get within those last two gates. Picks up more time penalties, but the gap to qualify being 61 seconds. Claudia Zwolinska slots in for tomorrow's semi-final. Now we see the Slovakian Olympian, Zuzana Pankova, turning 21 this year. Young athlete. Looking to lay down her mark. Send a bit of a message to the other girls here. She's not going to challenge the race lead time. She will slot into the high positions though. She drops into second. Very nice run, as it included 4 seconds of time penalties. So Zuzana Pankova, in reality, is just over 2 seconds faster than Martina Sakova, which is very impressive from the young Slovakian athlete. As we see Monika Doria attacking the course now. Our Andorran athlete, the second of our 2 Andorran athletes, looking to qualify into tomorrow's semi-final. And at the top of the course, you might notice a fancy coloured bib belonging to Andrea Herzog of Germany. She's got that bib because she's reigning European champion. She won the event last year in Tatsin in Slovenia. And then her teammate went to the Olympics, Elena Lilik, and came second. So the depth in C1 women in that country is amazing. Monica Doria there, comfortably crossing over the finish line into 17th place, into the semi-final. And it's still Eileen Vuillemeyer of Switzerland waiting for qualification. 61.23 seconds down. As we see the reigning European champion Andrea Herzog flying through the bottom section, and Kimberly Woods now looking to lay down her claim to that top spot of qualification. Kimberly medaled, I believe, in the Ivrea World Cup last year, World Cup 4, after the Olympic Games. So she's seen success in both kayak and canoe recently. She'll be looking to bring last season's success into this season's. She looks to be doing that now, as Andrea Herzog there takes the race lead by 1.33 seconds, the European champion showing her class. And that's a new benchmark for Kimberly Woods to chase. And Kimberly Woods is right behind that, 0.16 seconds behind. Very much in touch with the reigning European champion. Kimberly Woods putting down a run to be looked at twice here. This is an exceptional race run from Kimberly Woods to challenge that rapid time of Andrea Herzog. And now, one of the best C1 women to watch in the world, in my opinion, Gabriela Sakova, very smooth with her boat, always very much in control. She loves to use her upstream blade on the curl moves, which we love to see in the C1 event, with the way it accelerates the boat. And Kimberly Woods just approaching these last two gates now. All she has to do is stay clean and she'll qualify, and she does. We'll see Kimberly Woods tomorrow. Now, Gabriela Sakova, you can watch some of this smooth, some of this slick style. That smoothness proving incredibly fruitful as she's up on that second split. And as you see there, she attacked that curl move on her upstream blade and switched halfway through. An extremely confident move there from Gabriela Sakova. And look, she's on her left blade, her upstream blade here for the curl move. But she has to save it on the downstream blade there. She doesn't quite execute as she may have planned. And at the top, we have a rerun from the Greek athlete, unfortunately not going the way her rerun would have liked to go, as she's 50'd gate 2 and gate 3. But anyway, back to Gabriela Sakova here, charging down the bottom of the course. She's got a 97.87 to beat. I don't think she's going to do it, but she'll comfortably qualify. Andrea Herzog looking like she's going to take the win here in the canoe women's qualification event. And she does, as Relia of Greece with 250s will not compete for a place in the semi-final. And unfortunately, in a late turn of events here, we thought Eileen Vuillemeyer would struggle to qualify because she's 62 seconds down, but Relia of Greece was still to come. I thought it finished at bib 1 with Gabriela Sakova, but I hadn't taken into account that we had a rerun from Relia from Greece, which means that Eileen Vuillemeyer of Switzerland, it is her lucky day, as she was given that 50-second time penalty on the last gate, harshly in my opinion, but she will qualify with it, and she'll get another chance to go again in tomorrow's semi-final, as it looks like Relia will not make up that extra 50-second time deficit. In fact, she's already around 40 to 50 seconds slower than Vuillemeyer's time, so Vuillemeyer can comfortably say that she's in the semi-final, along with some of our top boats like Andrea Herzog, Martina Sakova, Kimberly Woods, Gabriela Sakova as well, bib 1. But remember, that big omission, bib 7, Angèle Hug, the French athlete, missing out on qualification due to those 250s at the bottom of the course. Maybe a lapse in concentration. Maybe Angèle Hug thought she had qualified already. It really isn't over till it's over. Reflected there. Unfortunately, Angèle Hug punished really harshly for it as Relia crosses the line. unfortunately goes into 34th place. She will not qualify. And there we have the final results. 2 athletes getting a little bit lucky today, qualifying with a 50-second time penalty. Marina Novish of the Independent Nations and Eileen Vuillemire of Switzerland, excuse me. Those two looking to go clean in tomorrow's semi-final. But here we have the final rankings, final results. Andrea Herzog dominating the field, the reigning European champion, showing her quality, closely followed by Martina Sakova, and then 2024 Slovakian Olympian Zuzana Pankova. There you see the next set of 10 girls who we'll see tomorrow in the semi-final. And there is our last set of 10. 10 women we will see tomorrow competing for 12 spaces in tomorrow's final. It's the same for all categories, 12 spaces up for grabs and 30 athletes going for them. Next up, we have the canoe men's event starting in 4 minutes. It's Alexander Karlamtsev of the Independent Nations kicking us off. I'll be back with you shortly after I take a quick break.
Il y a bientôt 2 ans, la FFCK a conçu et développé en partenariat avec Egalis une taille adaptée aux jeunes. Produite en France, elle a très rapidement rencontré un succès incontestable. Aujourd'hui, nous avons le plaisir de vous présenter le Squally qui vient compléter l'équipement indispensable pour nos jeunes pagayeurs. Conçu en partenariat avec la société d'Agrotomode et à l'aide des clubs, ce kayak est à la fois fun, léger et évolutif. De l'initiation au perfectionnement, de l'eau calme à l'eau vive en passant par la mer, il sera procuré à nos jeunes pagayeurs en herbe plaisir et sensation.
We have our second athlete now that's crossed the finish line, Mustafa Parlak of Turkey. Unfortunately, he had a 50-second time penalty in his run on the last gate, and we won't be seeing Mustafa Parlak in the semi-final tomorrow. Our third athlete now reaching the finish line, Vadim Musevic of Ukraine. Unfortunately, almost 20 seconds down on Alexander Kolmalatsev of the independent nations. And I don't think we'll be seeing the Ukrainian again in this race, unfortunately. However, we have another paddler from the independent nations, Dmitry Kramtsov. And he's putting down a flyer of a run. This looks like it could be in the mid-90s or even low 90s here. Good performance there from the athlete competing for the independent nations. 4.68 seconds ahead of his compatriot. And I think we might well see Dmitry Kramtsov in tomorrow's semi-final. The benchmark has now been laid. These athletes now have something strong to fight against. As we see, Yanis Zachos of Greece putting down his challenge. Unfortunately, 6 seconds behind here, including a 2-second time penalty. So he's fighting with Alexander Kolmalatsev for second place. As we see, class Francis Rosenthal's of Latvia coming down. One of the most technically able Latvian paddlers, formerly competing for Great Britain, now based out of Pau in France. And now, Zachos of Greece there, unfortunately with a 50-second time penalty. We won't be seeing him again, but class Francis Rosenthal's attacking this course now, a little bit down on this last split. He's got 8 seconds in time penalties now, so only 1.46 off the raw pace time. He's putting down a flyer in the raw pace, but too many touches as he's turned the pace on a bit here. A very unique, a very cool boat design. A fun athlete to watch, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll be seeing class Francis Rosenthal's again in this race, as he's 13 seconds behind. But now we see Oyer Diaz of Spain making, I think, his senior championship debut. A young guy. I think he competed in the junior category last year. He might be an under 23 now. Unfortunately, I'm not knowledgeable enough in the C1 men category to tell you that for sure. But he's young nonetheless, and he's attacking this course, and he's looking for a place in tomorrow's semi-final. He's 2.56 seconds down now. Unfortunately, that gap just widening a little bit for him, but he's still fighting for second place. As we see at the top, newly crowned European champion in the team event, Luke Royal, making his, not his senior championship debut actually, because he was competing at last year's European Championship, so he'll be hoping to qualify through this time and one up his performance from Tatsan last year. And it looks like he is doing that as Luke is flying down the course. He's 2.5 seconds up now, hoping to deliver this curl move. He's very good at moves like this as he throws his boat onto the feature, uses the speed built up from it to fly into gate 15, across into gate 16 now, looking patient to set this up 17 to 18. He's exceptional at these little small curl moves. He's going to love this course on Vaires-sur-Marne, and it looks like he is enjoying his time here as he's still 2.24 seconds in the lead. Luke, I know, has been working very hard in the training center at Lee Valley. I've seen him day to day putting the work in, and that work is showing here as he's about to take the race lead time, even with a touch, by 1.66 seconds. He will, I think, qualify for the semi-final with that quite comfortably. He'll just be disappointed about touching that last gate, hoping to improve that for tomorrow's semi-final. And now we have Søren Luz. I know that he spent some time coaching Lena Tunissen, also of the Netherlands. Søren, also the founder of an incredible app which helps you explore new cities around the world and especially in Europe. Very innovative guy, very entrepreneurial guy, and a smart paddler, Søren Luz. Unfortunately, not with the amount of pace it looks necessary to qualify through to the semi-final tomorrow, excuse me, as he's 10.83 seconds down now. But he'll be loving the weather and the crowd here in Vaires-sur-Marne. Now we have the Polish athlete Szymon Nobilski. He's been knocking on the door of the Polish senior team for a few years now. He had a little bit of a curse, he called it, at selections. But he's broken that curse, and here he is now racing his first senior championship event. He'll be closely followed now by his very experienced teammate Michal Vaires-sur-Marne, as Michal starts to fly down the top section of this course. And Szymon, unfortunately, is just trying to hold on here, as he's maybe not had the performance so far that he's been looking for. Unfortunately, Szymon Nobilski there picking up 50-second penalty on the second last downstream gate. It's very harsh, but it'll be a good experience for Szymon in his first senior championship event. Now his more experienced teammate Michal, chasing him down the course, is in touch for second place, although it is quickly slipping away from him. And it looks more likely now that Michal Vaires-sur-Marne will challenge Oya Diaz for third place. As at the top of the course we see Joris Otten, the Dutch paddler, the Dutch Olympian from 2024, flying down his challenge on this familiar course at Vaires-sur-Marne. Now at the top here we see Marc Vicente, also a debutant onto the Spanish senior team, I believe. I have seen him at senior races before, but not a senior championship event. So this is a big moment for him. But he's an extremely talented, extremely technical C1 paddler. You can see his stature. He's extremely tall in the boat. His big long arms reach a long way, which will help fly him down this course here in Vaires-sur-Marne. I'm sure he'll be very comfortable with the challenge that's coming. And Joris Otten there, unfortunately, just going down into fifth place, not quite qualifying for the semi-final. But we do have our first two semi-finalists now officially confirmed, Luke Royal and Dmitry Kramtsov, both qualifying. Now, it's Spain versus Spain. It's Oya Diaz versus Mark Vicente for a place in tomorrow's semi-final. And Mark, unfortunately, just falling off that wave there between gates 17 and 18. And this third split is going to reflect that loss in time. Only 3.54 seconds, though. Oya Diaz is holding the cutoff at 5.19 seconds, but that touch is going to cost Vicente loads as he approaches this last move. Oh, and another touch. It's all unraveling here for Mark Vicente at the end of his run. That's tough to see on his first time in the senior team. He's unhappy with the result, but it should be said that he's next to qualify. He is next to qualify with a 6.28 second gap. So the likelihood that one person goes behind him is quite high. I think we can expect to see Mark Vicente in tomorrow's semi-final. Now, time for one of four Slovenians here. Jus Javonik. The Slovenians allowed 4 boats, one more than the usual 3, due to Zigalin Hocheva being the reigning European champion. As I mentioned earlier in the kayak men category, if you win the European Championships, you're allowed an extra entry for your country. So Zigalin won that for Slovenia at the European Championships last year in Tatsan. And Jus Javonik being the beneficiary of that, but unfortunately not quite taking advantage of his opportunity here as he falls in between gates 23-24 and picks up a 50 right at the end of this course. Not the finish to his big moment that he will have wanted, and he's very disappointed at the end here. That's hard to see. Unfortunate there for him, but now we have Kasper Stuba. He's been away from the international circuit for a year, but he's back and he'll be just as fast as he always was. Medalist at under 23 level not so long ago. Very powerful paddler, Kasper Stuba. Someone I'd expect to see in tomorrow's semi-final. And at the top of the course, Lennart Tuscherer of Germany. Nicely done there from Kasper Stuba as he qualifies into third position. Luke Royal still holding a strong lead here, 1.66 seconds ahead, and he has a 2-second time penalty. The young British athlete and his debut in his full senior debut season is absolutely flying. Mark Vicente, who I mentioned earlier, he was disappointed with his run. It unraveled for him a little bit, but he still qualifies for tomorrow's semi-final after the mistakes we saw from Jus Javonik of Slovenia. Lennart Tuscherer there slots into third position, nicely into the semi-final, and now Jake Cochran, the man from Ireland, making his challenge into tomorrow's semi-final. It's Jake Cochran versus Alexander Karlametsev of the Independent Nations, and it looks like the advantage is in Jake's hands at the moment. As we look to the top of the course and see Wojciech Heger, the Czech athlete. Anyone racing for the Czech Republic, you can expect them to be extremely competitive. Wojciech just putting down the top split as Jake Cochran comes across the finish line. Doesn't look too happy, but he's qualified. That's all he needs to do. He can improve on that for tomorrow's semi-final. Now, Wojciech Heger, who I mentioned before, had an exceptional selection series, managing to beat Tokyo Olympic silver medalist Lukáš Rohan and 2021 world champion Václav Chalupka to selection. disappointing not to see those two on the senior circuit this year, but exciting to see Wojciech Heger back on the senior scene and back competing at the highest level. And he's showing us his skills here, only 1.71 seconds behind that lead time of Luke Royal, as he looks comfortable to qualify for this semi-final. There is Wojciech Heger, the well-established, the well-experienced Czech competitor, just behind Luke Royal by 0.89, and he's happy with that. He knows he's qualified through to the semi-final, and we can look forward to watching him again tomorrow. Now, this will be controversial with the French fans watching, but Michael Martican, arguably the greatest C1 man of all time. I believe 3-time Olympic champion. Him and French paddler Tony Eslonguet had a brilliant rivalry for many years throughout the early 2000s and the beginning of the 2010s. Tony Eslonguet now was the president of the French Olympic Committee during the Olympic Games, and Michael Martican still going, still competing in his mid-40s, and he shows his experience and he shows his power there at the end, and it looks like he's going to pip, just behind young gun Luke Royal. But we'll be seeing the GOAT Michael Martican again tomorrow in the semi-final. That'll be exciting. Now, Marinic of Croatia making his charge down the back straight section of this course, a little bit behind Luke Royal now, 2 seconds behind, but the gap to qualify is 6.34 seconds. It looks like Marinic will be more than capable of achieving that.
Allez, le public de Vaires-sur-Marne, c'est un Swiss qui s'entraîne à Pau dans les Pyrénées. On va demander de la voix pour Thomas Cochelin, s'il vous plaît. C'est le plus français de Suisse que je connaisse. Il y a dit je ne sais pas combien d'années.
Marinic there, our Croatian athlete, just slotting into 7th place and qualifying nice and comfortably for tomorrow's semi-final, as we see Thomas Cochelin of Switzerland fighting his way back up into 18 after making a pretty big mistake. It's now on. The race is on between Alexander Karlametsev and Thomas Cochelin for a place in tomorrow's semi-final. After that mistake from Cochelin, he'll have to stay clean here. He'll have to stay solid at the bottom in order to qualify. And it looks like Thomas is doing that. He's done an excellent job of that, and that will be rewarded with a place in tomorrow's semi-final. As we see our second athlete from the Czech Republic, Adam Kral. As I mentioned earlier, Lukas Rohan, Václav Chalupka not at this race, but Adam Kral and Wojciech Heger were the two men that pipped them to the team. And to pip those two to the team, you have to be an exceptional athlete, which Adam Kral is. And he's showing that here by being just right in touch with the time of Luke Royal.
Super passage, là, voilà. C'est ça qu'on attend de voir, c'est sortir un peu plus loin que ce qui a été fait jusqu'à présent.
Now here is Adam Kral fighting towards the finish line, trying to challenge Luke Royal's time, and he does. As I mentioned, anyone competing for the Czech Republic has extreme potential to win races. And Adam Kral is so far winning this qualification round. Hot on his heels though is Liam Jégu, competing for Ireland, based in Pau in France. He was at the 2024 Olympics here in Vaires-sur-Marne, competing for Ireland. Certainly an experienced man on this course, but you're about to hear the French crowd get extremely excited for their home paddler, Mewen Debliki, who is now on course. Mewen has one of the nicest C1 styles in the world. Extremely fast, extremely zippy, but also very, very smooth. He uses the boat excellently. The boat reacts very well to his paddle. And there you have Liam Jagu slotting into 6th place. Mewen here absolutely flying. I know he's good friends with Luke Royal, the man who was previously on the lead. So he'll be looking to beat his mate to the top of this qualification. And Mewen Debliki unbelievably, masterfully dodging gate 16. So he doesn't get a pre-touch on it before going up through gate 16. I don't know how Mewen Debliki has avoided a 50-second time penalty there, but Mewen will now be absolutely turning this up in order to qualify for the next run. And he's 2.65 seconds down with that monumental mistake. This is an incredible run from Mewen Debliki, given the fact that he dodged the pole of 16. I'm not sure how, and is now looking on his way to a semi-final with a mistake like that. Just shows the class of Mewen. As Timo Trümmer of Germany starts his charge. And I think there'll be a massive sigh of relief from Mewen there. Now Timo Trümmer of Germany on course, 1.72 seconds off the lead. Just looking comfortable, looking composed. He's an experienced paddler. He knows that in order to qualify for this semi-final, he just needs to paddle at about 50, 60%, and he'll be through. Timo Trümmer now approaching the end. Very composed run. Very comfortably into 8th position, 2.72 behind, and he's in tomorrow's semi-final. Now, the young paddler Martino Barzon, junior world champion in 2021 on Tatsin in Slovenia. He can compete on any course in the world. A fantastic young paddler from Italy. I believe the first of our 3 Italian paddlers to come down the course. But the noise is about to get up for Johan Seneschal, the second of our 3 French athletes, and the last French athlete we'll see before watching the dominant Olympic champion, Nicolas Jastin. Martino Barzon crossing the finish line with a touch, 2.01 seconds off the lead. An incredibly fast raw time there from Martino, and he's qualified and deserving of his place in the semi-final. Now, Johan Seneschal. '23 European Under-23 champion. Picking up a touch on gate 15. Him and Mewen Debliki have both struggled with that curl move, which is surprising. The French struggling with a fairly classic move here in Vaires-sur-Marne. We saw a similar move at the Olympic Games. But here you see Johan just cruising down the course at 6.64 seconds to qualify. And Johan will know that it's a big gap, and he can slot nicely between first and last here. First and 16th here, sorry. Into the qualification spots. He can fit in there well. It's exactly what he does. Pushed it a little bit tight. Slots into 13th place. Nicely inside the qualification. We'll see Johan again tomorrow. And now, Paolo Ceccon on course, the second athlete from Italy. An interesting fact about Paolo is that his boat is actually made for a kayaker. It's made for someone with 2 paddles. It is a kayak that has been fitted out as a C1. It's what he prefers, it's what he paddles best in, and you can't doubt it when he picked up that bronze medal at the 2023 World Championships in Lee Valley. A top paddler, and it's showing 0.39 seconds up. And he's being chased down by three-time, I believe, Olympic medalist Sideris Tassiadis. But Paolo Ceccon here, he was our provisional race leader. He struggled in that last up left, and he's touched gate 23. He might struggle to qualify here now. And he's a lucky man. He slots into 17th, only 0.5 seconds within qualification. Now, Sideris Tassiadis, that three-time Olympic medal experience coming down on this course in Vaires-sur-Marne. Followed by Marko Migorodski of Slovakia. Tassiadis with a comfortable looking run here, showing his experience. He's a world champion, many-time Olympic medalist, and it looks like he's going to go into the lead even, and he does. Nice run from Sideris Tassiadis, 0.34 ahead. He's definitely very happy with that, and he'll be one of the last athletes we see in tomorrow's semi-final. That raw time now is being challenged by Marko Migorodski. He has a touch, and he's only 1.77 seconds behind Sideris Tassiadis, meaning this run is very fast from Migorodski. It was an early touch for him, perhaps a lack of concentration. But now we see Olympic silver medalist from the 2024 Olympic Games here, Adam Burgess. Very efficient British paddler here. Has a very nippy style. It's nice on the eye. And he's ahead on the first split, enjoying his return to this course in Vaires-sur-Marne, where he had such a special moment last summer. And there is Marko Migorodski on a pretty relaxed run, just slotting to 15th position and comfortably qualifying. Now, Adam Burgess attacking this middle section, 1.22 seconds ahead. Absolutely flying here, Adam Burgess, as he looks for the punt on the wall, pushes off the wall, gets speed out into gate 16. And he made a mistake here in the Olympic Games. Let's see if he can right his wrongs. And he does. He puts those demons of the Olympic Games behind him, and he flies through gate 18. And now, at the Olympics, this is where he made his time, but today it's where he loses it with a touch on gate 19 as he flies into this bottom section. As I mentioned, Adam exceptionally quick at the bottom section in the Olympic Games. On raw time, looking pretty quick here. And this run will challenge for the lead. And it takes the lead, even with the touch. Adam's disappointed about that touch. You can see it in his face. Nice run from the Olympic silver medalist. Now his teammate, my training partner Ryan Wesley. He's on course here. And he's on a decent run. Ryan, World Cup final silver medalist at last year's race in Liceo de Urgel. Excuse me to the Spanish listeners for that pronunciation. But Ryan is cooking on this course. He's a big Arsenal fan, so he'll be hoping that this race can put some of the unfortunate performance in Paris that Arsenal had to the past and show that performances in Paris are possible. Now, Mate Venice at the top of the course. He's up on the first split. Ryan Wesley with a touch on the second last gate. He'll be disappointed by that, but he'll qualify nice and comfortably. Oh, not so comfortably. He lost a lot of time in that bottom section. Thankfully, unlike Arsenal, he didn't bottle it. And he is comfortably into the semi-final tomorrow. 20th place. Now, Matej Benus. 5.62 seconds behind on that second split now. The deficit to join the semi-final is 7.41, so he's within inside that for now, but I doubt he can take another touch and still qualify. This would be a bigger mission. Mate Benes, the Olympic bronze medalist at the Olympic Games here in last summer. He is now 7 seconds down. Mate's going to struggle to qualify here. He's got a 7-second deficit to qualify, and it's a 7.91. Where does he go into? He goes into 24th place. 7.47 deficit. He is next to qualify now. Mate Benes missing out on this race would be a big upset. Now, Yuri Priskovic on course. I mentioned earlier he might be the GOAT of kayak man racing, and he's recently switched over into C1, and he's taking over there as well. As you can see, he's really in touch with these splits. He's looking comfortable. Such a talented guy. And also, as I mentioned earlier, extremely physically fit. That's why he's able to hold up the challenge of competing in both the kayak and the canoe class, as not many other men do. I think the only other one that we're going to see is Ziga Linhocheva and Miguel Trave later on. Yuri Priskovic struggling with that last move, but he'll still qualify even with that touch. As we see Raffaello Ivaldi next on course. I said earlier when we were watching Marta Bertoncelli that you can look forward to watching Raffaello Ivaldi. They've been training together in Ivrea under the wise coaching of Slavkovski, a Slovakian C1 man who is incredibly dominant in his day. He's been giving them tips that seem to be paying off as Marta and Rafi are flying on this course in Vaires-sur-Marne. Now, at the top of the course, we have our reigning European champion in the fancy yellow bib. It is Ziga Linhocheva. Does a pretty good job on gates 1 and 2. He's looking very relaxed and composed because he knows it doesn't take the best run from the European champion to qualify through in the top 30. Just takes a solid and comfortable performance. Now, Raffaello Ivaldi looking to get towards the finish line here. Very tight on that last gate. Looks like he picks up another touch on gate 23. He's going to struggle to qualify here. He's pushing through. He's gone into... He's next to qualify now. Unfortunate end there for Raffaello Ivaldi. A surprise as well. You don't expect someone of his caliber to be 7.7 seconds off the lead. Fingers crossed for him. We will have to have one of our 5 best athletes going behind him for him to qualify. It seems unlikely, but you never know. Now, Ziga Linhocheva, European champion on course. Slightly down on the first 2 splits, but as I said, he was looking comfortable, he was looking relaxed. This will not be a risky, tight run from Ziga. It will be a smart, composed run. Miguel Trave and Ziga Linhocheva both on course now, both doubling up in the kayak and the canoe event. Adding extra physical and psychological strain to these athletes, but both of them looking like they're dealing with it well. And Ziga Lin challenging for the race lead now, going just behind though and into 4th place. And Trave 1.52 seconds up on that race lead time. I believe he came 4th at the Olympic Games here in Paris. So he'll be looking to take some vengeance for that unfortunate finishing position that he had at the Olympic Games. And it looks like he is beginning to take that vengeance, and he is 1.55 seconds up. And that is the best curl move I think we've seen all day between 14 and 15. He pushed his boat onto the wave and he said, please take me across into gate 15, and the wave obliged. It flew him in there. And he's going to be up on this split now as well. Look at that, 2.44 seconds up. Miguel Trave is cooking. Chasing him down is Luka Bozic, world number 1 at the time of the Olympic Games in Paris. And easy days for Miguel Trave, 4.35 in the lead, wagging his finger because he knows that was a top run. But it didn't look difficult, it didn't look intense, too intense. It was just extremely precise, and that's how Trave gets his speed. Luka Bozic now 4.01 seconds behind. Just putting in a nice relaxed run here. Luka Bozis, as I mentioned, was the world #1 at the times of the Olympic Games in Paris. Unfortunately, wasn't competing as his compatriot Benjamin Savcek, the 2020 Olympic champion, was racing for Slovenia. Just reflects the depth. From bib 5 to bib 1, we have 3 Slovenians. They are really a dominant nation in the C1 men's category. As he just pips his compatriot Zigalin Hocheva, jumps into 5th place, and we will see him tomorrow in the semi-final. But now you can hear this crowd here at Vaires-sur-Marne getting hyped up as Nicolas Jastin, the Olympic champion by over 5 seconds here in the summer, is coming down this course again. And he's a little bit behind the time of Miguel Trave, but remember, Miguel Trave is winning by 4.35 seconds. So Nicolas Jastin on par with that incredible performance. Nico not looking like he has to even get out of second gear here. I'm sure he could paddle this course with his eyes shut. He is that experienced here in Vaires-sur-Marne. And at the top of the course, we have the 2020 Olympic champion, chasing down the 2024 Olympic champion. Nicolas Jastin, very mature performance there, slotting in between Miguel Trave and Adam Burgess, only 1.6 seconds behind Miguel Trave. Very mature from Nicolas Jastin there. I expect we'll see a similar type of performance in our semi-final tomorrow. Now, Savcek versus Trave for the race lead. Currently, the advantage sits with Trave. Very smooth from Benjamin Savcek there. Way in touch with the qualification time. And unfortunately, it does look like Raffaello Evaldi, barring a huge mistake here from Benjamin Savcek, will be missing out on tomorrow's semi-final, which is a massive shock. Raffi Evaldi, one of the best paddlers on this C1 circuit. He won the World Cup here in 2023, and we won't even see him in our semi-final as Benjamin Savcek crosses the line into 3rd position. There you have all the Slovenians within the top 8. Miguel Trave with a very smooth, very precise run. 1.6 seconds in the lead above Olympic champion Nicolas Jastin. Quickly followed by another Olympic champion, Benjamin Savcek, and in 4th, Olympic silver medalist Adam Burgess. Now, I would say the real surprise omission there, again, is Raffi Evaldi not qualifying for tomorrow's semi-final. Apart from that, I think we've got everyone that we'd expect to see in there. There's Yuri Priskovic and Wojciech Hager of the Czech Republic, Marin Dublicki, who managed to make up for that crazy mistake between 14 and 15 by dodging the pole and working back up to 15, and still finishing in a very respectable position of 13th. And there's our final 10 right there, qualifying through, rounded off by the athlete from the independent nation, Alexander Korlamtsev. Well, that is a conclusion to the racing today. We've seen the women's kayak heats, the men's kayak heats, the women's canoe heats, and the men's canoe heats. Today, we've set up 4 semi-finals to enjoy tomorrow. We start off with the women's kayak semi-final at 9 a.m. European time. Quickly followed by the men's kayak, and then we'll watch the women's kayak final and the men's kayak final all before lunchtime. In the afternoon tomorrow, we'll have the women's canoe semi-final, quickly followed by the men's canoe semi-final, and then obviously the women's canoe final and the men's canoe final. Remember, only 12 places up for grabs in each one of those finals, so this semi-final racing tomorrow is going to be very exciting. It's all to play for here in Vaires-sur-Marne. See you tomorrow, and thank you for watching today.